my god. Give me a bit. I need to adjust. It's been a while since I've been talking. God, I didn't realize how sensitive my laptop is picking up sounds. Maybe I have to turn off that my space heater after all. It's a pain, but oh well. Okay. Okay, that should be good. Okay, that should be able to take the sound. Alright, yeah, it's been a while. I just didn't feel like talking. Sometimes I just don't feel like talking. I have like moments and periods of I just don't want to talk because I just don't want to. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like and where I don't feel like even representing myself. Like I was a lot busy, so I was like, I don't really want to do any commentary. And it's also some kind of I'm kind of experimenting for YouTube, so yeah. I'll see what I feel like doing, but anyway, let's actually get to reading Higurashi. It's been a while, but I'm ready to start now. Did I read it this time? In the end, all the onigiri was eaten by the principal, so I had to make do without lunch. Skipping lunch, I never knew the afternoon could be so long and painful. Yeah, I know what you mean, Keiichi. I remember when I was a little kid, it didn't affect me at first. I didn't actually care about skipping lunch because, like, I already knew I'd have food at home, so I'd actually be okay. I think what really affected me the most was when you're an older person, like an adult or something, it really starts to get to you. In middle school, I used to go for a long time without food, and I thought I could make it with only eating cheap food during college and trying to be cheap and not spending my money where it didn't need to be spended. And then it turns out I have low body sugar. And if I don't have enough nutrients throughout the day properly, my body ends up having the sugar shakes or something like that. Yeah. Because my mom always like, you gotta save on money and everything. And little I know, I'm actually screwing myself over by listening to her advice. And she's still trying to screw me over with that advice today. Alright, let's go. A feeling other than drowsiness made me space out. Are you alright, Keiichi? That's why I said you shouldn't eat Rena's curry. As if I could eat this curry with enough salt in it to make my blood pressure rise just by looking at it. What I said as I initially refused. I could only regret it. The hunger, the stomach ache. Well, you did a good job making it through. You're absolutely hopeless situation, that is. Kei-chan, you're pretty strong when you're cornered, eh? I don't need any compliments right now. I need food. There's something for you to eat at home, right? We don't keep snacks lying around at home. And I'm out of cup noodles right now. Since you're enduring that hunger so much right now, I'm sure tonight's dinner will be really tasty. I absolutely had no intention of laughing along. Well, then I'll take my leave. I have my part-time job again today. It's really rough when you're not so used to the work. That job at the Angel Mart family restaurant, huh? That uniform was somewhat stimulating. Oh, being a waitress is really hard work. Michan's working as a waitress? Really? Really? What kind of place is it? Oh! the other day. She owns the waitress. My bad. I completely forgot that's how it ended up being. I'm sorry. You guys look so similar, I mixed you up.
Keiichi, who's Shion?
Rena asked the obvious question. Mion's younger twin sister. She's got a different personality, but she's a dead ringer for Mion. That's right. We look similar, but our personalities are completely different. I'm very kind and thoughtful, but Shion has a cold and scary personality. I think that when you guys were born, Shion got all the feminine aspects. I like Mion. She's a cute, cheerful girl.
Kei-chan!
Rena interjected as her eyes darted back and forth from our exchange.
Is that true? Rena's never met her. Mii-chan, did you ever tell me you had a younger sister?
Shion's existence was already being exposed as a cover-up. I couldn't help Mion out there. I could only have her end the charade. Oh yeah, I still haven't introduced her to you, Rena. My younger sister's name is Shion. I don't know, I didn't ask. I never met her when I went to Mii-chan's house. Oops, that was Rena's voice. Yeah, that. You know, I'm the only one that lives with Granny. Shion lives at the family home in Okinomiya. We're not that close, so yeah, she doesn't come here too often. Rena's face indicated she wasn't sure if she was convinced. She's usually a bit of an airhead, but she was kind of unusually sharp when it came to things like these. Well, it's not a lie. Please believe me. As she said, yeah, I believe you. A smile suddenly blossomed on Rena's face.
Rena wants to meet her. I'll go and see her sometime. What store is she working at? What store?
That is... she's getting more tangled in her little web. I could tell that Mion was getting increasingly frantic. I wanted to help her out, but it was hard for an outsider to butt in on family issues. Sorry, I have to get to work. Later, Rena, Kei-chan, see you tomorrow. Unilaterally ending the conversation, Mion headed home. No matter how you looked at it, she was running away. We'll just label this one as an emergency escape.
Mii-chan was kind of cute. I wonder why.
Rena giggled in amusement. I wonder when dinner is. Would lying down be the best way to conserve energy? I sprawled in the entryway without even taking off my shoes. As I was losing the last vestiges of my consciousness, the doorbell rang. It seemed I had a guest. Come on in, it's open. I directed my listless voice at the door. Good afternoon, huh? Kei-chan, what are you doing? It seemed my guest was Mion, or rather Shion. She seemed shocked when she saw me sprawl out in the entryway. Is that Shion? Wait, why? I thought that Shion's existence was an illusion that was limited to when Mion was at the restaurant. That's why I never even considered that Shion would appear here. I heard from my sister, because of the club activity today, you weren't able to eat lunch, right? Yeah, it was a lot of trouble. Sako spilled my pot and you stole my rice. But I'm Shion. She grew red and began to mope. That's right, she was the younger twin right now. Sorry. What's up? Did you bring something for me to eat? Oh my, it's somehow disappointing that you hit the nail around the head, but here! With a disappointed smile, Shion held out the small bento box she'd hidden behind her back. Huh? You really brought something to eat? Thanks! There's still some of the ground beef left over from what my sister brought to school. I knew it was going to be right before dinner, but I wondered if you'd want it. Am I bothering you? Not even a bit! I'm really happy! Can I really eat this? Sneaking a look inside the box to say that she just put some of the leftovers inside would have been a lie. There was an elegant meal stuffed inside. Is this really okay? There's not like a ton of hot sauce mixed into it or anything, right? Right? Hot sauce? I'm not gonna say what that's about. Just gonna say there's something about the hot sauce. Jeez, I'm not my sister I wouldn't do that kind of thing. If you don't like it, you don't have to force yourself. I'll just go home and eat it myself. Saying that, she pouted cutely and made a motion as if to snatch the box back. There were some times that she made me doubt that she was the same person as Mion, and this was undoubtedly one of those moments. I don't mind at all. I want to chow down with it thanks from the bottom of my heart. It's not something to be so thankful about that your nose has to run. Shion, who I had thought I might not take the bento, looked down happily. There's not much, but do you want to come in? I can probably make some tea or something. Sorry, maybe some other time. I'm on my way to work. Oh, that's right. She did say that before. Just rinse the box out with water and give it back to my sister tomorrow, please. Of course. It'd only be the proper thing to do after being allowed to eat something that looks this delicious. Well then, I'll take my leave. One last thing. Shion grew red again as she looked down once more. During that contest with the curry, my sister took your rice without permission, right? My sister fools around too much, so sometimes she gets carried away. She wasn't doing it just to be mean. Hey, it's not like I mind that too much. There are no grudges when it comes to club activities after all. In fact, I should be the one that's thankful for all the thrills and entertainment. Could you tell that to Mio for me? Yes, I think. My sister will be very happy to hear that. Well then, I have to go. Shion smiled brightly. After bowing deeply, she left as she looked at her watch. I'm happy, but is this really okay? I looked at the bento box that she left behind. A faint warmth spread through the palm of my hand. If it were Mion, I could see hot sauce, mustard, and maybe a needle being mixed inside, but really, I don't think she'd really go as far as putting a needle in there. Ha ha ha. Ooh. I opened the box once again and hesitantly tasted it a bit. I took a bite, and another. There was no funny business. There was no danger at all, for it was delicious. That's right. That was Shion, not Mion, so there shouldn't have been anything to worry about. I rushed back to my room, eating as I gave my thanks. It was so delicious that my stomach could cry. Shion. No, Mion. When she heard I was so hungry I could die, she brought this over to me. It was delicious to the last bite. By the way, nothing strange had been mixed in. I was just a bit embarrassed at myself for being so skeptical. You received a new tip. It was delicious. I kind of wish that... I don't remember. Did they ever... No, I'm not going to say anything. I want to say something to the people who are like anime only the anime onlys, but I don't know. You know? So, let's view the new tips. Oops, sorry, my finger brushed on the mic. It was delicious. Let's read that tip. Hey, Mion, here. What is it, Kei-chan? I thrust the bento box she'd given me yesterday at her face. It had the food you gave me in it. Thanks. It was great. Mion's face quickly flushed bright red. Hey, now, you were the one pretending to be Shion when you gave it to me. You're gonna give it away if you get all red like that when you're being Mion. At this rate, she might trip and fall right into her own grave, so I decided to help her out. Listen, I was pretty hungry yesterday. Out of the blue, Shion came all the way to my house and gave me some food in a bento box. This is that box. Make sure you wash it out. Right. Shion's really considerate, huh? That was so transparent. Was Mion always this terrible at lying? Her expression was different than usual, but it looked strangely cute. So, what did you think? You two are like peas in a pod. You're twins, right? Obviously, you look the same. Not that. Mio looked kind of bewildered, like she was waiting for a specified answer. When she said impression, maybe she didn't mean Shio, but the bento. Oh, of course, it was delicious. Really? I never lie about liking food. If I say something's good, then it's objectively good. You can feel free to give my recommendations to every single person you meet. Tell Shion was seriously great, alright? Oh, okay. Tell Shion, right? I will. I think she'll be happy. We're going along with Shion having given it to me, not Mion, aren't we? And her laugh. It came from deep down, and it sounded really happy. I guess she can really laugh nicely enough that just looking at her makes me feel a bit better too. A sarcastic remark made its way into my tongue, but I swallowed it back. As Mio went back to put the bento box in her bag, she noticed a clattering noise. Kei-chan, there's something inside. Huh? Wow. She opened it? The thing inside was a little embarrassing, so I wish she hadn't opened it here. Panicking, I hid it with my hands. Well, my mother told me to put them in as thanks. I didn't come up with it or anything. Don't get the wrong idea. It's so pretty. Candy. There's a handful of candies, neatly wrapped in paper inside the sparkly clean bento box. When I was cleaning the box out yesterday in the sink, Mom came over and interrogated me, and I fessed up as to who'd given me the food. Then she told me something like this called for a display of gratitude. I didn't want to, because it was embarrassing, so I argued that it wouldn't be like me to do that. Well, that's what happened. I mean, I was so embarrassed it felt like fire might shoot out of my face. Mia laughing the whole thing off like she usually would be fine, but for some reason, she was staring at the candy box with fascination. Thank you. Don't thank me! Thank my mom. She put them in there. Besides, you're not the one I need to be thanking, right, Mion? Those are for Shion, okay? Right. You're right. Okay. I'll be sure to tell Shion. I just know she'll be happy. Mion, looking a little downtrodden, put the lid back on the box. Seemed like I ended up saying something a little mean at the end. So, I'll tell you something I don't think this one is very spoilerish, but when he gave the box back with the candy in it, in the manga, he did it at Angel Mort at that time in the manga. So, yeah, I just wanted to say there was another difference without being too spoilery.
Mi-chan, you look so cozy today. Did something happen? Did it? Perhaps she caught a fever? The red in her face is probably due to the increased body temperature. Hey, Rika, why are you petting my head? Sadako, I'm sure you'll be able to catch fever soon enough.
Pet. She can only do that with Rika. Not that type. I just mean that, you know, they have a cute relationship. Like that. Not like that, okay? Okay, let's continue. Just regular plane shipping. Anyway, I might have explained this before, but phys ed at our school is really just an exercising disorder. After some random warm-ups, the rest of the time is spent doing whatever. You're free to cause a ruckus or just fall asleep. I'm not really sure, but doesn't the Board of Education have some sort of curriculum for this? Something like, when you're this old, you should have this amount of physical abilities. Oops.
I have no idea what you're saying, Keiichi. It's rather difficult to understand. Well, you see, it's something like a rule for teachers to follow during class.
Maybe you weakling city folk need something like that. But do you really think us country-raised kids would lag behind in physical ability?
We're better athletes than you would think, Keiichi.
Come to think of it, they may be right. If we all lined up for a race, there was a good chance I'd finish dead last if I didn't start off well. Let's just pray that when a brutal penalty game is at stake, 100-meter dash isn't a club activity. On that note, I watch too much television, so I'm fantastically tired. I'll be using this time to catch up on my sleep. It's fourth period, and I'm completely starved. If I don't sleep now, when will I ever? As I begin to sprawl out on the top of the pipe, Miriam grabbed me by the collar. Do you really think I'd let you sleep in peace and quiet? With that look on your face, it required more courage to try and take a nap than not. Good grief, which means it's gonna start again? Now, just killing time without chit-chat until the bell rings is impossible for us hot-blooded youth, isn't it? Shall we start a club activity? Just as I thought, it's come to this. What's today's game? Now that this is happening, taking a nap is impossible. Not just that, with this sleep-deprived head of mine, I'm as good as mincemeat. I have to get my brain in gear.
Rena thinks that we should decide what today's penalty game should be before we start.
Rena knows what's up. I prepared something super special today. She began to announce the cruel penalty game with a grand spinning flourish. She began to announce the cruel penalty game with a grand spinning flourish. But before she could do that,
I'm sorry, I have something I wanted to do.
Of all people, it was Rika announcing her non-participation. Even rare events do eventually occur. Losing her timing, Miriam spun like a top as she tumbled to the ground. What? Huh? What's the matter? Are you not feeling well?
Oh, that's right. Mi-chan, she has to practice for the Watanagashi. That's right! It's this Sunday! Rika's in the middle of a super serious training right now. I've been working too hard lately, so my arms hurt.
I see. Well, there's something that can be done. There's no point in doing anything if we can't get everybody together. Today, let's just take it easy.
I'm very sorry, but I'll try my best. Yeah, good luck! We'll be cheering you on!
When Mira announced that today's club activity was canceled, Rika and Sadako headed off behind the school building. Only I was left alone, completely clueless at what everyone was talking about. What's that about? Is Rika training for a competition or something?
Rika's a shrine maiden for the Watanagashi, so she has to perform a ritual dance. It's practice for that.
Why don't you explain things in order? First of all, what is this Watanagashi? Next, what do you mean by shrine maiden? Last, what do you mean by ritual dance? Huh? Did you get the notice at your house, Kei-chan? Wasn't it written there? The Watanagashi festival is this Sunday. Huh? Come to think of it, I have a feeling Mom did say something about it during the winter dinner the other day. Messed up. The Watanagashi is a festival that happens at the shrine on Sunday every June. It's very lively. I see, but Watanagashi sounds like a pretty strange name for it. Is it something like the Lantern Festival, where they have a memorial for the dead by floating things down the river? Oh, I'm thinking you might guess right, Kei-chan. The Watanagashi, or Cotton Drift Festival, as the name implies, is where we set cotton adrift down the river.
The cotton you see is from futons or jackets, so it might be something like a futon memorial. They also pile futons up on the altar.
I've heard of people leaving offerings of things like needles or kitchen knives to their ancestors or to casualties of war, but an offering of futons is a first for me. What's the history behind that? Mion tilted her head pensively. I don't think there's a complicated backstory to it. The winters around here are pretty harsh, so things like warm futons and coats to ward off the cold are fairly important, I guess. Ah, I see. In other words, it's something like giving thanks to the futons that took care of you during the winter then. Then the shrine maiden holds a memorial service for them and sets them adrift. That's what the Watanagashi is? Mion and Rena indicated that I had the correct answer with a round of applause.
And you see, that shrine maiden performing the memorial is Rika!
Oh, so Rika's a shrine maiden. Now that you mention it, Rika does have that mystical air about her. You know, like a Miko.
Right? Rika in the shrine maiden outfit. So cute!
It certainly does seem like it would suit her. Yeah, it might be cute. I finally get what you're saying. Rika's training for her performance as a shrine maiden then. That would be it. The shrine maiden has to purify a number of food tones as part of the ceremony. It's practice for that. It's hard work. The shrine maiden has to carry a large ceremonial hoe as part of the rite, and it's really heavy for Rika. Well, Rika is pretty small. Exactly how heavy is that hoe? It's pretty heavy. Enough that Rika has been practicing with a mochi mallet. Wait a minute. That's way too heavy. Forget about Rika. That'd be rough even for me. So, mochi mallet, if you've seen Monster Hunter Rising, that's kind of what that is. But, if you haven't played that video game, I don't know how else to talk about it, but it's a big-ass, hammer thing. Made of wood, so it's like heavy wood. And remember, Rika's a little girl. It's a sacred ceremonial hoe. If she dropped it by accident, it'd be big trouble. Well, it's a once-in-a-year kind of deal. All we can do is cheer from the sidelines. It'll be okay. She pulled it off last year. Really? The least I can do is cheer her on. Even something that little would help, right? I was rather curious about exactly how she practiced. Mion laughed as she shook her head. Leave her alone. If you go, Rika will get all cute and won't be able to practice. I didn't quite understand what Mion was saying. You see, Rika doesn't like showing people how hard she works, okay? So just leave her be. Same. I don't like it when people watch me practice. It makes me feel embarrassed as well. Even the cool and aloof Rika has times when she sweats while giving it her all. Because she was always so well put together, she didn't want people to see the ungainly side of her. It's not like I couldn't understand that feeling. All I can do is pray for her success, huh? Do your best, Rika Furude. I'm cheering for you. Well then, I climbed up on top of the pipe and plopped on my side. Anyway, I'll probably edit that out from YouTube because I really don't like it when people are interrupting in my reading. It pisses me the fuck off. Anyway. Hooray! Hooray for Rika! In order to transform my psychic waves of encouragement, I'll be entering a meditative state now. So you're just gonna sleep after all? The lackadaisical noontide ended up giving way to the mind-numbing afternoon class. Rebounding from yesterday's hunger, I ate too much for a lunch today, giving me a horrible condition. I might have gorged myself a bit too much. I'll have to endure afternoon classes.
Keiichi, you had an amazing appetite today.
Basically, you always eat like a pig, but today was a whole different level. Yesterday, I skipped lunch, right? The hunger just soaked right in. This time, no matter how much I ate, my hunger knew no bounds. I get you. But really, Kei-chan, you always finish your lunch down to the last bite. Heck, even down to the last grain of rice. With food, you show your appreciation for the person who made it by eating it, you know? If you leave any behind, it's rude to the person who put in all that effort. I'm not like that, Keiichi. I'm too picky. Hey, hearing that, Mion's eyes momentarily widened in surprise, followed by a cool laugh. Kei-chan, really? At first glance, you seem unruly and irresponsible, but you're actually pretty conscientious. Well disciplined or something like that.
Yeah, Rena thinks so too. Keiichi's a lot kinder than he looks.
You know, it's really easy to kind of miss that detail in the anime. I feel like here you see it a lot more. Both of them are probably trying to compliment me, but I had a strange feeling I wasn't being complimented at all. That's not true. I just wanted to say that there's a big gap between your appearance and your personality. And I'm saying that's not a compliment. Hey, Sonozaki, my bar, we're in the middle class. How far did you get, Sonozaki? Bring your notes up here. Startled, Mion vocalized a rather easy to understand utterance. She was so enthralled in the conversation she had to stop working completely. Doing alright? You haven't progressed at all. You're in the highest grade, so you have to shape up. That Mion, it looks like she's getting lectured. Poor bastard.
Appearances can be deceiving. In other words, actually, appearance might be the opposite of reality.
You say some interesting things. Responding to Rena's seemingly profound statement, I turned my gaze to where Sadako was happily standing together with Rika. Are you saying that brat Sadako was actually really meek? If I went by what Rena literally said, then that would be the case. I could hardly imagine Sadako being meek and gentle like a girl in some fairy tale. Let's wait until Tatari Goroshi, okay?
Sadako's been rude lately, but just a while ago she was pretty different. She acted really spoiled and always... Yup. Keep this a secret from Sadako, okay?
That's Sadako acting so cute? For Sadako to play coy, I think that would have been some sort of calculated plot. Even if she was to hide behind someone, I wouldn't think it was because she was attached to them, but since it came up, I tried to imagine a gentle and coquettish Sadako. If you don't like Sadako at the moment, or like if you didn't like her in the anime, there's so many reasons I feel like you can like her in the visual novel. Hey Sadako!
What is it, Oni-sama?
Sadako smiled cutely and walked toward me. By the way, for every 3 steps forward Sadako took, for some reason I took 3 steps away.
Oni-sama, why are you running away?
Sorry, Sadako, for you to approach me with an affectionate smile on your face. I just have to think it's some sort of trap.
That's so mean! Oni-sama, you meanie!
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be so mean. The weeping Sadako came closer to me. I'm a sucker for tears. Click. Huh? A bear trap? My leg was being clamped down by jagged metal teeth.
You fell for it! Now for the next part!
Sadako raised her right arm triumphantly, and traps began to trigger one after another. Suddenly the wall sprang forward, throwing me 3 blocks away, and there I saw a giant metal ball covered in spikes hurtling toward me. On top of that, in the direction the ball would knock me, was a giant guillotine.
I'm not really sure, but Keiichi, you're not thinking of anything completely ludicrous right now, are you?
Not really. Not at all.
That's a lie. You've got that kind of look on your face that says I'm going to be crushed by a giant spiked metal ball.
How could my expression convey that I was thinking that? Yeah, at least she's not saying that's a lie at the top of her lungs. Sorry, imagining a meek and gentle Sadako is impossible right now. I'll try again when I'm in better shape. Next, I looked over at Rika, who was working diligently on some kanji drills. In contrast to Sadako, her default state was meek and gentle. If Rika came to me saying,
Oni-sama,
I'd hug her tightly. I could get used to that.
Keiichi, you're drooling.
Sorry. Then how about Rika? Are you saying that her appearance is deceiving as well? Saying that out loud, I felt a tinge of doubt. Was Rika really all sweet? Despite her appearance, she was really quite sly. Sweetly. How do you put it? Evading things deftly? I get the feeling that Rika isn't only just sweet. Her appearance is definitely deceiving. When she pats you, she's mocking you. I couldn't put exactly what I was imagining into words, but Rena managed to say what I wanted to. She turned to me with an impish look in her eyes. She was saying,
you shouldn't say something like that.
when Rika grows up, I'm sure she'll become an incredibly devilish beauty with men wrapped all around her little finger. Maybe in another story. Don't you think that would be cool? Rena said that lightheartedly, but as a man I couldn't laugh at that. Oops, that was Rena's voice. The scary part about that was it felt like it could be true. Ooh, I just realized this could be true in another story completely. Something about roses? Something rosy. Noticing my gaze, Rika turned toward me and let loose with an angelic smile. both Rena and I feeling as if that was directed toward us personally had our hearts skip a beat.
Oh, so cute! So cute!
Rena, your nose is bleeding. Appearances can be deceiving, huh? Well then, what about our dear leader Mion? I stared at her as she tried to weasel her way out of her scolding by the teacher. By Rena's theory that unrefined, calculating, conniving Mion also had a side of her that bellied appearances. Then what you're saying is that Mion, despite her appearance, is actually a good person?
Mi-chan is a good person.
Oh, well, that is true, but what I'm trying to say is...
Yep, I know what you're trying to say, Keiichi.
Catching on that I was struggling to express my feelings as words, Rena smiled even more brightly. Know what?
Mi-chan is mysterious, right? She's a girl, but it's like she's a guy.
That's right. Mia was more aware than that she was a girl, but it's exactly as Rena said. When Mia livened up the mood, it wasn't as though she felt like a guy or a girl specifically, but a friend of the same gender. If she were a guy, we'd probably be like two peas in a pod. Although, that's the same way it is right now.
But you see, even that Mi-chan is actually really feminine.
Rena, how much did Mia pay you exactly?
That's not true! Jeez, I'm trying to have a serious conversation, you know? You know?
Rena began to pout, but now probably wasn't the right time to joke around.
Mi-chan's the club president, so she's trying hard to lead everybody. But she's a really very cute girl. I really don't want you to forget that, Keiichi.
Rena's gaze focused off into the distance beyond where Mion was. The Mion that I met at Angelmore was unimaginably different compared to the Mion I normally knew. Flustered and hesitant from the unfamiliar job. It was a far cry from the brash and confident Mion. Even though she had to hurry to work, she went through all the trouble to bring me food when I was on the brink of starvation. And she did not as Mion, but as Shion. What exactly was Shion to Mion? What kind of person was Mion exactly?
Keiichi probably couldn't even begin to imagine.
As if to say our little secret, Rena held her finger up to her lips as she giggled. Mion, finally from the teacher's preaching, returned to her seat, cradling her head to hide her embarrassment. This old man, you see, thinks that grade school is enough for everything you need to study for in life. Saying that, she plopped down into her seat violently. Mion was actually really feminine. Right. I wonder if I can meet Shion again. I wanted to talk to her again. The principal raved around the bell that served as the school chime. The teacher rushed back to the blackboard and began to list everybody's homework assignments.
Oh, it looks like there's going to be a lot of homework today. Gotta buckle down.
Well, then that means even Rena.
Huh? What do you mean?
Appearances can be deceiving. Would that apply to you too?
Huh? Keiichi, how do you see me? How?
The Ryugu Rena that I knew sometimes took things too far, but was generally a kind and gentle ideal girl. Really? Then... Oops. Sorry, that was Rena's voice.
Makes me really happy, I guess.
If she was the opposite of what she seemed, that would make her...
And if I were really the opposite?
Just try saying it, I won't be mad. That's what I felt she meant. Rena is...
Uh-huh. Rena is?
Even if you were the opposite, you'd still be Rena, right? This question shouldn't have been so nerve-wracking to answer. Just like when we remembered the first part. Of Onikakushi. Maybe it was because the person in question was staring at me, but even saying that took a strange amount of effort.
But that's no fair, Keiichi. It bothers me when you say it that way.
Maybe unable to endure my silence, Rena's face began to turn red with embarrassment. Rena! Kei-chan, let's go home. Mio walked over and started getting ready to go home. Whenever school's over, she really does get noticeably more energetic. Ha 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 ha! It was the same relaxing walk home as always. Digging around my pocket on a whim, I noticed something that should have been there was missing. What's the matter, Kei-chan? The key to my house I always carry around is gone. Man, where did I lose it? It's fine today since my parents are home, but still, this is bad.
That sure is troublesome. Did you forget it somewhere, or did you drop it? Which one was it?
Did I take it with me this morning in the first place? Huh? Kei-chan, did you have a key that would make anything with it stand out? Yeah, it's on a keychain. It's a blue fur seal, something I made for summer homework a long time ago. Huh? Does it have its eyes shut like it's taking a nap? Oh, how'd you know? Yeah, that's it. Mio looked away and began to whistle. See, you went for dinner at Angel Mark a couple of days ago, right? That night the staff found a key, and there was a fur seal keychain attached to it. She said that, she suddenly grew flustered, and added that Shion told her about it. Huh? So I dropped it then.
But aren't you glad they found it? I'm sure they're looking after it for you.
That's right. Why don't you go? Shion looks the same as me, so you'll know her by sight. That was a rather unexpected development. Once again, I had no choice but to go and meet with Shion. But I also had to thank her for the bento from yesterday. Besides, taking some time and chatting with this other side of Mio might be interesting. Half jokingly, I began to think of things like this. Right, Angel Mart runs it? I'll head over to Shion's restaurant when I get my key back. While I'm at it, having a nice spot of tea might not be a bad idea. You sound like an English gentleman. That totally doesn't suit you, Kei-chan.
Is this the restaurant? The one that Mi-chan's little sister's working at?
Yeah, why don't we go together, Rena?
Sorry to disappoint you, but I have plans with my father today. Some other time.
Rena seemed pretty disappointed about having to miss such a great opportunity.
You said they're twins, but do they really look that much alike? Enough to mistake which is which?
Yeah, they're totally the same, at least on the outside. Unlike Mio, she's well-mannered and really cute, though. In response to my teasing, Mio pouted and began to argue with me. I couldn't help but burst out laughing at Mio's little farce. After all, they weren't just identical. They were the same person. After going home, I changed my clothes and dug my bike out of the garage. Just thinking that I'd be able to meet Shion again gave me a mysterious feeling. Shion. A name for a different kind of Mio. She was a mysterious and ridiculous person, believing she had me fooled everyone like that. I noticed I was pedaling along quite happily. Could it be I was looking forward to meeting Shion? I felt a sense of giddy anticipation, like I was headed toward a new friend's house for the first time. What Rena said about Mion actually being really feminine sprang to mind once again. The guilt from spying on another side of Mion, the self-consciousness from being the only one that knew that side. These feelings mixed together. That was Shion for you. Mion's little twin sister. Until she felt like something coming out and admitting she was Mion, it was just fine to call her Shion, right? Mion might be trying to have some fun by acting out a different persona. As I reached the top of the steep hill, the horizons expanded before me. I was almost at the station. Last time I wasn't embarrassed, since I was here with Dad, but this time I was alone. I was strangely self-conscious about it. Meet Shion, get the key back. That's all this task is supposed to be. If I dolled around like this, maybe Shion would find me before she headed in for work. Hey, what are you doing, my brother Keiji? You're just here to get your key back, you know? It's not like you're some love-struck schoolboy here to hand over your love letter. The thoughts jumbled inside my head were slowly turning into a jumbled mess. I came to the realization I was downright giddy. That's why, for just a bit, just a tiny little bit, I got a little carried away and did something really stupid. I kicked over a parked motorcycle that was blocking the sidewalk. It was in the way, sure, but there was absolutely no need for me to kick it. I definitely think I got too carried away. As 3 bikes toppled over one another, like dominoes, the loud sound they caused snapped me back to my senses. Oh shit! The hell you think you're doing? The owners of those 3 bikes were right there. Sorry, I'm not a guy, so I'm not gonna probably not read these guys well. They look exactly what you'd call thugs, up to no good. They lifted their heads up in an imposing manner and yelled angrily in a way I had never heard before. The 3 of them beelined toward me, the worn-down heels of their thin-soled shoes slapping noisily against the pavement. I could only stare listlessly, as if I were watching some far-off event that didn't concern me at all. Disassociated. By the time I realized it, I had been grabbed by the collar and lifted onto my tiptoes. "Done be playing dumb! You knocked him over, didn't ya? Ha!" The 3 thugs were completely ignoring the rules of grammar, but the way they spoke was enough to make me tremble. Just like that, my composure drained away. My legs buckled and my throat grew dry enough to crack. I'm sorry. I accidentally... Accident my ass! You kicked in it, didn't you, dumbass? I was completely at fault, so there was nothing I could say in my defense. As a result, I was pulled even higher. The hell, man? The bait's all scuffed! Yo, brat, who put you up to this, eh? This is your goddamn fault. The 3 of them continued to yell at me, and I had no idea which one of them were saying. Getting further enraged, I was only listening while dumbstruck. They grabbed an empty plastic crate from a nearby store and began to smash it repeatedly against a telephone pole. Cracks formed in the crate, plastic shards flying everywhere. They began to slam it into full force in the shuttered storefront. Uh-oh. The shutter let out a frighteningly loud noise. Still not satisfied, they flipped over a case of empty cans, scattering its contents all over the place. This was not normal. This is something you often saw on television or in manga, but I never thought seeing it in person would be this terrifying. I became painfully aware that the safety of civilized society was only held up by such a frail concept as morals. My knees clattered together noisily. Sight began to pepper my vision. This is what you would call absolute terror. There was nothing I could do to stop this frightening spectacle of violence. I could only pray for help. The fear I felt was just too much. Somebody help me? My gaze floundered around the surrounding area. I was surrounded by these 3 hoodlums. There's no way a passerby would be brave enough to intervene. Maybe this is what you call reaping what you sow. If I were a passerby, there'd be no doubt I'd ignore what was going on. So this is somewhat of a cosmic retribution. Fucking say something! I'll fucking stab you! Angrily loud, yelling loud enough to rattle my eardrums, I spewed forth right in front of my face. My waning consciousness was forcefully dragged back to the forefront. The thug had cocked back his free hand and twisted his body, and suddenly a metallic taste flitted through the back of my throat. A chill ran down my spine like a jolt of electricity. Seeing what was going to happen next, I squeezed my eyes shut as tightly as possible and grit my teeth. You're making quite the racket, you stupid pieces of trash! Get out of my sight! That voice was in a short distance away. Still holding me by the collar, the 3 thugs spun around to look behind them. The fuck you say? Standing there was Mion. She stood there, displaying an imposing stature that I'd never seen before. She didn't have the same look on her face as she did when we were playing around during the club. Those are the eyes that would instill fear of anyone who'd look upon them. The eyes of a raptor. They were the epitome of terror. At the same time, they were the most reassuring things in the world. I'll only say this one more time. Let go, Kei-chan, and get lost. Mia, without an ounce of fear, laid down her ultimatum. Of course, there was no way those 3 wouldn't absolutely go berserk. The situation instantly turned explosively dangerous. You fucking bitch! I'll fucking bash your head in! Stop it, Mio. These guys are like rabid dogs. No amount of bluffing will work. Mio, it's dangerous to run. I knew what I was saying was pathetic, but I couldn't let Mio get involved in this. No matter how you looked at it, Mio was only bluffing. But did Mio even know the meaning of the word bluff? However, the reason behind everything soon became apparent. They were slowly increasing in number, little by little. Bluff. Okay. At first it was only businessmen on their way home stopping to take a look, but then it was housewives in the middle of shopping and taking a gander. Next, what seemed like the owner of some store showed up. It was pretty clear he wasn't just looking. Around Mio, there was already about 7 people gathered. It felt different than people coming out to support a friend. If I had to say why, it was because the group that had gathered was diverse in age and gender. The 3 thugs seemingly slowly realized that there was something strange about the situation. Who the hell are these guys? Behind them, at some point, 4 more people, differing clothes and ages, had gathered. A girl who looked like to be in middle school, a man wearing a bakery apron, an old lady in a house-cleaning smock. More and more people of various ages. Their gazes, comparable to Mion, were of hostility, of intimidation. Before I realized it, over 10 people had formed a ring around us. At that moment, 5 elementary schoolers ran in and joined the circle. There were some familiar faces, some of our classmates. These people were residents of Hinamizawa? More and more people from Hinamizawa gathered around. In obvious contrast, the residents of Okinomiya were passing by as quickly as possible. The fuck are you guys? Go the fuck away! The group surrounding us had suddenly swelled to around 20 people, completely encircled. The faces of the thugs began to show the first signs of panic. Nobody spoke a word, Mion included. I made everything completely unnatural, and depending on which side you were on, completely terrifying. Only the thugs' voices echoed out like they were screaming. Somebody took a step forward, closing the gap between them. As they did, everyone else took a step forward, shrinking the circle. The hoodlums went pale as they were pushed together back to back, while still yelling angrily. They were trying to string together vulgarities, but for some reason it sounded like they were crying out for help. All right. What's going on here? What's going on? It was sudden. A solidly built officer cut his way through the crowd. At some point, 2 police cars had arrived. Some passerby had undoubtedly called for them. Several burly officers appeared from inside the second vehicle. Oh, officer, good timing. There you go. The extortionist caught red-handed. Please arrest them. The fuck? This brat's got the wrong one here! Mion, returning to her usual self, was nonchalantly pointing out the hoodlums to the police. Of course the thugs were furious. But now that it had come to this, there was nothing that they could do. It was their loss. Okay. Come on here for a sec. Come on already! The officers handcuffed the thugs and dragged them toward the patrol cars. Fuck, let me go! We're the victims here! Are you listening? Damn it! No matter how much of a ruckus they caused, the officers paid no heed. In the blink of an eye, they were crammed inside the 2 vehicles. They could still be heard yelling while inside the police cars, but what they were saying was no longer intelligible. Are you alright? Are you injured? He was probably a detective. The man leading the police peered at my face. No, not really. Well, that's a bit of a silver lining then. Well then, have a good year. The portly man, after taking a quick look around, addressed the crowd. Thank you, citizens, for your timely report. Thanks to your efforts, we were able to keep the peace today. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you for your hard work, Detective Oishi. As a citizen, I thank you for your daily efforts. It's an honor for a detective from the 1st Division to come out all this way. The way that Shion talked didn't have a very pleasant tone. It was a coincidence. I happened to hear the call over the radio on my way back from the prefectural office. I just made a little detour. Please keep up the good work. I pray for success in your future endeavors. Ah, shucks. It's a good thing there were no injuries, though. Oishi, we're done here. Let's go. Well then, have a good year. I'm sorry. Could you make way? The detective named Oishi, after jovially making pleasantries, lumbered over to the waiting police car. It quickly set off, disappearing down the city street. It was over so quickly. So quickly, I was dumbstruck. I didn't even get to ask the officer what was going on. It was like they came out here quickly to disperse the mob before any trouble could start. After making sure the police cars had left, Mio snapped her fingers sharply. All right, that's a wrap-up, and don't come back. That was a signal. The tension melted away in an instant as everyone began smiling. A middle-aged man helped me up. Are you okay, young Maibara? Next time pick your fights a bit better. It's not like I wanted to fight. Are you hurt anywhere? If you hit your head, it would be a good idea to get an X-ray taken. Another lady I didn't know the name of was concerned about my injury. You were lucky this happened right in front of the station as it was busy. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to gather as many people. Next time, be more careful, because these days are pretty unruly. I was even warned by the old lady in the smock. As Shion finished applauding the dispersing group for their efforts, she strode over to me. Well, you're pretty good, Kei-chan. But I also think you should be more careful about who you pick a fight with. Thanks, Mion. You saved my bacon there. Like I said, I'm Shion. She made a troubled expression as she turned her gaze downward, blushing in embarrassment. I heard from my sister that first little Kei-chan was yours, Kei-chan? Oh, yeah, that's right. I was just heading up to the restaurant. And you ended up feeling so excited that you got mixed up in something weird? And now it was my turn for my face to go red. I didn't want to admit that she was spot on. Well, I was just unlucky. But you really saved me, Shion. You don't have to thank me. So if you see somebody else get bullied, help them out, okay? We value that kind of thing highly here. I was very well versed in that sense of camaraderie. But the way I was rescued just now, something seemed a little off about that. While I was helped out, it was honesty to almost a disturbing degree. You're coming on to the restaurant, right? You must be tired. Why don't you relax for a bit? My treat! I see she caught the glimmer of suspicion in my eyes. Without waiting for my answer, Shion began walking. So it's kind of like that small town thing, or kind of like that kind of sense of thing. That's what I've heard, or like a very small area where they're more close-knit. And that's part of the horror of Higurashi and stuff for anyone who's new. Not for the people who are already familiar. Anyway, after cooling off a bit inside the restaurant, little by little I realized I was still on edge. There were spots here and there on my body that hurt, probably because I'd been so stiff with nervousness. Shion, who had changed into her uniform, brought over 2 glasses of iced coffee. Here you go, iced coffee on the house. Just bring this coupon to you to the register and there'll be no charge. My patheticness really knew no bounds, but since she went through the trouble, I might as well take her up on the offer. Even though it started off as a lovely day, I had to get carried away and do that stupid thing. I completely ruined it. But really, you really saved my hide there. I've really come to see you as reliable. Even I was scared, but Kei-chan was in trouble, so I had to be brave and do my best. While a little embarrassed by what she just said, she made a show of folding her arms boldly. Shion, really, thank you. I was just thanking Shion, but I really wanted to thank Mion. Mion, really, thank you. Now, cheer up a little. If you feel indebted, then when you have the chance, you should help somebody in need. Like, for example, if I'm ever in trouble. Please come and save me. Yeah, of course. It's a promise. You absolutely have to! Taking advantage of my words, she seemed happy about my promise. So if I'm ever in trouble, Kei-chan will come and save me. I hope trouble comes soon. You finally smiled. She said as she smiled herself, poking me in the cheek. A downtrodden Kei-chan is as good as an imposter. Come on, smile, smile! That tickles. Stop! Thanks to Shion's meddling, I finally cheered up a little. All the muscles in my body had stiffened because of the incident had finally begun to relax a little. When you're in a better mood, don't you get a little hungry? I'm kind of hungry, so I want to eat some pancakes or something. You want some too, Kei-chan? I wanted to show a little restraint, but restraint wasn't really my thing. That's why I replied without any. They're good, right? I'm pretty picky when it comes to pancakes. Don't worry, our pancakes have a pretty good reputation. Shannon ordered some pancakes from a nearby waitress. An employee ordering from another employee seems kind of weird. Hey, speaking of that, wasn't she in the middle of a shift? She seems to be slacking off while talking to me. I told my uncle that you saved me when I was surrounded by hoodlums, so he's rewarding you. so I have the manager's permission. That's exactly the opposite of what happened. Is that alright? It's perfectly fine. Oh, man. By the time the pancakes arrived, we'd enter into a relaxed conversation. As the two of us ate pancakes, we livened the mood with some chit-chat. About what was on TV, celebrities, that kind of thing. Hobbies, food, really nothing more than idle chit-chat. Talking together like this, I once again became conscious of Shion being a girl. Hey, now that's funny talk, my bar, Keiichi. Shion and Mio are the same person. If there wasn't any difference between them, it was only whether or not Mio admitted she was Mio. But given that, how come our conversation was this different? Kei-chan, you don't think of my sister as a girl, do you? But that's not true. If she were a guy, I'd punch the living daylights out of her. I think the reason you guys get along so well is because you have that kind of platonic relationship. That's a pretty rare and enviable thing to have, don't you think? I don't get what you're saying, but it really would be a waste to treat her like a girl. Hey, Kei-chan, that's sexist. Hearing the word sexist was a cause for introspection. What was I prejudiced against Mion and Shion for? Mion was Mion. She's the best friend a guy could have. No reservations and a head and shoulders above me when it came to club activities. If I had met her 5 years earlier, my life would have probably been a lot more fun. Of this I had no doubt. Then what about Shion? Shion was Mion's little sister. It hadn't even been 3 days since we met. Her relationship was much more distant. The only thread we had in common was that I knew her sister. And for Shion, it was the same. I was somebody she met 3 days ago only because I was a friend of her sister's. The difference between Mion and Shion: friendliness? Familiarity? Playing around with those unclear thoughts for a while, I had stopped listening to Shion. Hypothetically, okay, are you listening? Sorry, yeah, I'm listening. This is just a hypothetical question, okay? Both me and my sister are in trouble, okay? We're dangling off the side of a cliff. Which one of us do you save? You can only save one. She wasn't saying it to tease me, but had a playful tone behind her voice. That's not a nice question. I want to save you both, but I can't do that, right? Right. You can only save either Shion or Mion. Who do you save? If it were Mion, I don't think she'd be in that situation in the first place, as it's something she could easily get out of herself. But what about the normal frail Shion? I guess I'd have no choice. It's not my sister, right? If Mion and Shion were different people, I suppose it would come to that. I couldn't confirm or deny it. She should have been smiling, but her gaze locked firmly to mine. In other words, that's it, isn't it? My sister is... Huh? Sorry, I messed up what I was trying to say. She was trying to talk in a light-hearted manner, but I felt there was something more behind her words. Was Mion trying to tell me something through Shion? Not being able to put a finger on exactly what it was vexing. Shion, to hide her embarrassment, turned the conversation around. More importantly, just now, were you surprised when everybody kept on showing up? Of course I was. If it were Rena or Sadako, that would have been one thing, but for all those people, young and old together, they were all from Hinamizawa, right? Yeah, that's right. Everybody in Hinamizawa is pretty close-knit. An enemy of one is an enemy of all. No one's going to look from the sidelines. They're a pretty reliable group of residents. If somebody's being picked on, then everybody unites to get rid of the bully. It kind of sounds like a mafia or a yakuza's brand of unity. You shouldn't say something like that. It's something you should be thankful for. You were saved by that unity, weren't you? That's one of my favorite themes of Higurashi, by the way. Never forget to show your appreciation. I half-heartedly agreed. I knew full well I should be appreciative. Everybody's really close-knit, aren't they? Maybe it's because of tradition. Hinamizawa has been in danger of becoming a ghost town on several occasions. There's been a history of the villagers uniting together each time to fight for the village's continued existence. For example, Kei-chan, did you know about the Hinamizawa Dam Project? Hinamizawa Dam Project? Let's see. I feel like I've heard somebody talk about it before. About 10 years ago, there was a sudden proposal to build a dam here, which would have submerged Hinamizawa underwater. Oh, that story. I think I heard my dad talk about that. But I'm pretty sure that plan was canceled, right? We made them cancel it. Everybody banded together, so that was a well-earned victory. That sounds pretty much like the story I heard. The protests intensified to the point where it was featured in newspapers and magazines. As a result, the plan was suspended. The whole story with the dam apparently started before I was born. At first, the proposal was only for the exploratory purposes, or a small dam to control the erosion. But then the cat was let out of the bag. If it were completed, it would have been the biggest dam in Japan. Not just Hinamizawa, but several villages upstream would have been submerged as well. The protests immediately began. Petitions to cancel or relocate the project were drafted and submitted to the Diet. They even went as far as the Ministry of Construction in Tokyo to hand over a direct appeal to the minister. The previous landowners sued the government, stating that there were inconsistencies in the purchase agreement and the transaction should be nullified. Owners of yet unacquired land split their properties, increasing the number of landowners in order to stifle the project. It was all very precious when the land acquisition was still about money. Eventually, they started relying on eminent domain in order to seize land. It started at that point. The riot police began to get violent. Riot police? You mean the police? Why would they act violent? They punched. They kicked. There was a time I was hit. Right around here, I think. My skin split open and a whole lot of blood spilled out. Saying that, she would indicate her temple by poking at it. What happened to the police? Filing a complaint against the riot police for police brutality would seem kind of strange for some reason. Naturally, they wouldn't pay heed at something like that. You wouldn't be able to establish proof on who exactly hit you. They could justify their actions by saying you were interfering with police duties. My nana went off like a firework. After that, it was amazing. Like a full-scale war. We weren't just going to sit by and idly file complaints. We went on to the offensive. First, in order to call attention to the government, they filed a temporary injunction in the report. Then, in order to gain public support, they called a prominent scientist to state that Hinamizawa was a valuable nature preserve. They pressured the prefectural and municipal assemblies, saying that the prefectural governor ignored his constituents when he approved the project and demanded his resignation. They completely and thoroughly denounced him. Naturally, in Hinamizawa, a ferocious conflict worthy of being called the Dam War began. In order to suppress the police's brutality, they coordinated with the network channels and exposed the violence of the riot squad members to the public. On top of that, they put together a special expose theme around the government's repressing the citizens and aired it nationally. It worked wonders. Following that, the SWAT teams had their hands cuffed. Day after day, the petitions and demonstrations continued. Propaganda was used to help garner support. The circle of support gradually expanded outwards from Hinamizawa. Either that bore fruit, or the government finally decided against it. It was an announcement that the dam project was definitely suspended just a few years ago. We did everything we could. The entire village banded together and fought. At that time, we were desperate. But now that it's over, it's actually become a pretty good memory. The villagers' feelings of solidarity and unity still haven't faded. She even said that as she focused off into the distance. I felt those eyes weren't filled with anguish, but rather a sense of pride. That kind of solidarity is pretty nice. You don't see it too often. Bridging the generation gap and unifying the region. I think so too. The dam project was a trial, I think, and that's just the fact that we were able to overcome it was huge. The fear I was feeling up until now just gradually began to fade. When people began to show up one after another when I was engaged with those thugs, I thought it was frightening. But now, I felt from the bottom of my heart that I had been rude. The villagers prepared to defend their homeland to the death, the sense of solidarity that fostered. It might seem impudent to say this, but I was a little jealous. If I had been Hinamizawa when the protest began against the dam was going on, I might have been able to share in that sense of solidarity. Hei-chan, you weren't here at the time, so I don't think you can fully feel the solidarity in the village. But everybody shares it, thoroughly. Even with somebody who just moved here like you, Kei-chan. She couldn't have been more right. So many people got together to help me out when I just moved here. Even though they were strangers whose names I didn't even know. A hot feeling began to welling up inside of me. When I lived in the city, I didn't even know my own neighbors. I thought that was natural. But here, that was an absurd and pathetic thing.
Even though I thought of them as strangers, all the other villagers viewed me as a comrade. Happiness and warmth. I was acutely aware of those feelings as they gradually welled up inside of me. Sonozaki! The manager wants you to work the floor. A more senior waitress waved her hand and called out to Shion. It seemed like it was time for work. Okay, I'm coming! Sorry, looks like I have to get to work now. It's fine. Thanks for hanging out with me. It was fun. Oh, are you going home? Yeah, my mom gets fussy if I'm not home by dinner time. It seemed that Shion wanted to say something, but she swallowed her words. Like we hadn't talked enough. That kind of feeling. Looking at that expression. I regretted saying something that had disappointed Mion like that. I was about to say that I could stay for a little bit longer when Shion got up from her seat. Here, if you use the coupon, it should cover the pancakes as well. Saying that, she showed me a coupon booklet as she tore out a few sheets and handed them to me. Convenient, isn't it? It's a perk I get on top of my salary. It's okay. I can pay for the pancakes myself. Hey! Being so reserved doesn't fit you, Kei-chan. If I were my sister, you would have gladly let me pay for it, she said as she laughed, gently stopping me from opening my wallet. Being told so with such an encouraging smile really resounded with me. Sonozaki, could you take care of the register? Yes, right away. Later. Today was fun. Saying that, Shion smiled one more time at me. Oh, Mion, thanks a lot for today. I owe you one. If you really think that, then return the favor. I'm looking forward to it. After I said it, I realized I mistakenly called her Mion. I didn't know if she realized it or not. You know, I don't really like it when people are like, oh, there's not any realism in stories. You can't learn anything from stories. And then there's Higurashi, which does take a lot of realism. It's like, well, you're not consuming enough and not looking for the correct type of stories then. Just saying. Okay? Lazing around and watching television after dinner was part of my daily routine. It might seem like a waste at first glance, but you could say it was an important time when I was able to accrue knowledge of everything from politics to economics to various trivia. After dinner was a valuable time well spent while the brain was at its most supplied with nutrients. You idiot! It's obvious that Tokyo Tower is taller! Ah! The day I tested my knowledge of trivia by watching my weekly quiz show, sitting in front of the television, I was able to get a lot of the answers right. But if I were actually up on stage, I'd probably fail miserably. Keiichi! Phone call for Sonozaki! Okay, Sonozaki. That's Mion! It's a little late for her to be calling. I had a bad feeling about this. I had a hunch it had something to do with club activities. She's probably going to inform me about what we were doing tomorrow. This was Mion we were talking about. She might even go as far as to say we're doing club activities right now, so hurry up and come over. By the way, it was 8 p.m. Hello? No way we're having a club battle right now. Huh? That's not it. I mean, it was Mion, but it was very un-Mion-like way of talking. Huh? Could it be? Sorry, could it be you're not Mion, but Shion? That's right! Good evening. I'm sorry for calling so late. For Mion, this would have been an ill-fittingly polite way of talking. But since it was Shion, it was natural. Even though we were both the same person. With a dry smile, I enjoyed that mysterious feeling. No, it's fine. What's up? Kei-chan, do you like sweets, like cakes or desserts? There was no way I hated them. I'm an unabashed glutton. That's great. Actually, there's a new dessert contest this summer. It looks like they have a new dessert menu every season. So they were hiring taste testers for potential desserts. The desserts at Ancientmore have a good reputation. It's pretty difficult to get accepted as a taste tester. I'll get right to the point. Ta-da! You say ta-da, but I can't see over the phone. Still, could it be? That's right! I have a taste testing certificate right here! If you don't mind sweets, how about it? When you say how about it, you basically mean, with a ticket, I can eat all new desserts I want? They say to be aware of honey pots, but this is sweeter than any pot of honey. All you could eat free dessert, no way!
I want that too!
If you're okay with that, I'll register you as a taste tester. When you come to the restaurant tomorrow, just give the person in charge of your name. Then everything will work out. When you say everything will work out, you mean all you can eat? For free? Yeah, it's free. There's quite a bit, so I recommend you come hungry. This is such a delectable opportunity, it was almost scary.
This is really Shion, right? It wasn't me posing as Shion in order to bait me into a trap, was it? What am I saying? They're the same person. Yeah. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kei-chan. You're thinking, this is too good to be true, right? I mean, I would never. I heard from my sister, but you're really somebody who can't tell a lie. I'm not adverse to somebody like that. Shion laughed with a voice that sounded a lot like how Mion would laugh. It's not like how I was intending on it, but it was just so happens that my shift ends early tomorrow. If it's not a bother, I thought maybe we could spend a little time together after I'm done. Your shift ends early tomorrow? Yeah, so while you take your time eating dessert, I'll finish up. Well, I didn't have any plans anyway. I don't mind hanging out with you for a bit. It's not like we have to go anywhere. I was just thinking we could cool off in the evening while we take a walk. There's no reason for me to refuse. Out of curiosity, courtesy, I might have taken her up on her offer. By the way, Kei-chan, you and I have been meeting up every day, haven't we? Now that you say it, I guess we have. Since you say okay, we have an excuse to meet again tomorrow. Huh? What's Mion saying? Kei-chan, your voice is cracked. What's the matter? This wasn't a video phone, but she could tell I was beet red. Well then, you should definitely come tomorrow. I'll take my leave here. Good night. Good night. Shion finished with that, which she had called a say, ended the conversation without any chit-chat. When I returned to the living room after hanging up the phone, the TV was already off and my mom was sleeping in the rocking chair. Not feeling like turning the TV back on, I went back upstairs and returned to my room. I've only been receiving favors from Shion, haven't I? She brought me a bento and saved me when I got involved with those thugs. She was supposed to be a different person, so I thought I could thank Mion at school. Come to think of it, she'd probably just say she'll pass it on to her sister. I have to thank Shion directly. Tomorrow I'll repay her somehow. Details of the Delinquent 3, new tip. Mob mentality. Makes sense. And let's view the new tips. I probably will just read it in my voice. Just why are you arresting us? Bullshit. Let go of me. Kuma, you can let go of their arms now. Here, please sit down. 3 people rubbed their arms painfully. Kumatani and the others might have been squeezing them pretty tightly. Don't get me wrong, I haven't arrested you or anything. Kuma, go get me something cold from the fridge, please. Would you like your barley with foam or without, They plunked down onto the reception sofa. Despite not yelling anymore, they still had dangerous expressions. What I'd give to be young again. I'll drink even if you don't, you know. Excuse me for helping myself. Beer is best when you're drinking on the job. As he downed the beer with glee, the 3 people exchanged glances and finally reached out for their cans. They hadn't stopped being cautious. It was more like they didn't see a reason to refuse. They each opened their cans and began to drink the contents. Where'd you guys come from? You're not from around here. They looked at each other again, suspicious of whether they should tell him. Are y'all college students? Friends on a trip? You're all traveling on bikes or something. Sounds like fun I wish I was having. You don't live close by, do you? Where'd you come from? Osaka, perhaps? What's the matter to ya? Now, there's no use trying to intimidate me. You would have been in a lot of trouble if I left you there, right? They all seemed to recall the thrilling event from earlier. While they could understand getting surrounded by students or a gang, or something along those lines, they would have never been surrounded by locals, both young and old, both men and women before. It was easy to imagine how scared they must have been. If you were from here, the people of Hinamizawa wouldn't have done anything to you no matter what you have done wrong. They're all special. Not in the sense of parents not wanting to get involved in their children's fights. If one person gets bullied, the village will come out in full force. That's not just an idle threat, you know. They couldn't argue against that. They themselves had been surrounded. They'd seen it with their own eyes. There was no doubt about it. Around these parts, if the people of Hinamizawa give you a glare like that, you'll simply get demoned away and no one will hear from you again. You'll suddenly disappear without a trace. You do all have families that'd get the police to search for you who went missing. If not, then that's bad. You'll vanish, and that'll be the end of it. Even when we got there soon enough that nothing happened. If we'd been late, things could have taken a turn for the worse. If they'd been forced to an alleyway, these young men wouldn't be sitting on the couch right now. They'd be lying on an autopsy table. Well, probably not. Anyway, perhaps they'd be a little more cooperative if we found them as corpses. How'd you all get to Okinomiya? By train? By bike? Bike. That's not good. They're still parked there, aren't they? If you go waltzing in to get them back, they really might gang up on you. Hell's that? We'll take them all. Calm down, calm down. Why are these young people these days so quick with the shouting? You don't want any more trouble, right? Tell me the bike license plate numbers. I'll bring them here for you. Kuma, please borrow the loading truck we'll use for traffic disasters. Got it. It is fine. We'll get them ourselves. Do you really want to get surrounded again? The police might not be fast enough to save you this time. It's fine, ain't it? If we're surrounded, they're gonna get knocked down. Hey, you three. You're drinking the barley with foam, right? Try turning your engines on. I'll arrest you on the spot for drunk driving. That's fucking dirty. Your tax dollars would be put at use in bringing all your bikes here. Quit complaining and tell me the goddamn license plate numbers, you pieces of shit. The three were hesitant to tell them the numbers. They were mumbling something along the lines of not remembering them since they just brought the bikes. Oh, that's what I thought. Huh. Kuma, go with the truck and bring the bikes back. Get the tough-looking red Yamaha, the one with the broken right taillight, and the right one that had the packing tape stuck to the seat. It's those ones. They belong to you, right? They didn't answer. Those must be the right ones. Oishi, the truck is here, so I'll get going. Yes, please do. Wait, Kuma, hold on, one more thing. What's up? Look up the numbers. You don't want to bring the wrong ones back. The three people's faces changed color. They made themselves very easy to understand. Let's take it easy here until your bikes get back. There's more beer, you know. We have some snacks, too. Want to watch TV? There's probably nothing on, though. Nah, thanks. We's leaving. We don't want to hang here forever. Suddenly, there were 5 or 6 huge officers surrounding them. Their clearly overpowering stares nailed them to the sofa. What? What do we do? Go on a trip by stealing motorcycles, huh? Students these days have too much time on their hands. Yeah, if you notice, I didn't do any voice acting for those guys because I'm not a guy, so I can't do that. I knew we couldn't be doing any club activities after school today before Mio even said anything. I've been invited over by Shion for an all-you-can-eat dessert. I made a point of leaving half my lunch uneaten. My expectations will only be unraveled by my hunger.
Keiichi, you seem kind of happy today. Did something good happen? Did it?
I guess it's all obvious. Rena questioned me with a happy look. That's right. Why don't I invite Rena for the dessert as well? No, if I recall correctly, Shion said something about having a ticket. At worst, the restaurant might be admission by ticket only today. If that was the case, then having Rena be turned away at the door would result in the worst feeling ever. Yeah, I got a little lucky. I'll tell you about it tomorrow. Rena, you'd definitely be jealous.
Well, what is it? What is it? I'm jealous. This lucky thing, is it cute? Is it?
Cute? I wonder what Rena would think of the uniforms at Angel Mart. They'd definitely be a critical hit. Probably. It's probably pretty cute.
I'm jelly! What is it?
What kind of fortune were you blessed with, huh? Could it be you participated in the draw at Angel Mart about 2 months ago and won? Hey now, I didn't even transfer here 2 months ago. Oh, that's right. Then it's not the Angel's Dessert Fiesta then.
Mi-chan, what's the Angel's Desserts Fiesta exactly?
You know that's the family restaurant called Angel Mart owned by right by Okinomiya Station? Every season they hold an event to promote their new dessert menu. That's today. Oh, it's no use going. The restaurant is reserved for people who won the draw. Mion explained once again what Shion explained to me last night.
Rena will have to stop by the restaurant sometime. I'll do my best to draw a winning ticket and aim to enter the next all-you-can-eat event.
Knock yourself out! By the way, this is something I heard, but there's a rumor that the tickets are being sold on the black market for a pretty penny. Hearing that story, I felt even more appreciative of the ticket that Shion had procured for me. I just thought I was lucky to be able to eat dessert for free, but it turns out that the ticket was much more valuable. The number of things I had to thank Shion for had increased again. Thanks, I didn't know it was worth so much, I whispered in a voice only Mion could hear. That's how I conveyed my feelings. Mion looked at me for a moment before she tilted her head to the side and smiled confusedly. Huh? What? Did you say something? It'd be a problem if you said something to me right now. That smile seemed to be telling me as much. I guess Mion wouldn't be accepting any gratitude while she was Mion. I'll go to the restaurant. Today I'll thank Mion while she's Shion. Well then, this old man will take his leave here. The work today is gonna be a little rough. Later! Mion waved her hand energetically as she left.
Hey, Kei-chan. Mi-chan has been kind of weird lately. Like she's elated or something.
What? You think so? Rena's pretty sharp when it comes to these type of things. To me, Mion seems the same as always, but Rena always apparently felt something different.
You don't know, Keiichi? I totally thought you knew!
Rena's skirt flutters as she spun around with a coy smile. Know what exactly? I was obviously weaseling my way out of the question, but I wasn't lying. Honestly, I really didn't know what was going on. Why did Shion, a persona of Mion that she created, appear before me? Something was blatantly up, but Rena paid it no heed.
Oh, really? I wonder what it is then. When Mi-chan is in a good mood, so is Rena.
Saying that, she spread her arms wide and spun around happily. I didn't know why, but Rena was in a really good mood. It was so infectious that I had to smile too. Even the chirping of the cicadas seemed joyful.
But, you see,
Rena abruptly stopped spinning. Her expression had returned to a more somber one.
You see, Mi-chan, lately, she's been in a lot of pain.
What do you mean? Pain. The pain that Rena was talking about probably wasn't physical.
At first, she tried to pretend it wasn't a big deal. But like a wound, it began to fester and grow. Eventually, she was no longer able to bear the pain and woke up in the middle of the night. And then she phoned Rena. Mi-chan was crying.
I'm sorry. What are you talking about?
What am I talking about, huh? What is Rena talking about? What?
Hey, don't play dumb like that. Just now you said...
I don't know. Rena doesn't know anything.
Rena spun around and she laughed innocently. Eventually, she appeared to get sick, stumbling as she steadied herself with her hand against the wall.
The room is spinning.
That was dumb. That's what you get for getting carried away and spinning like that.
Sorry. I think I feel sick.
I lent the ditz a shoulder to lean on. To be stumbling around like a newborn foal at this age is actually quite a feat. Rena in a good mood only babbled incoherently after that. I laughed as I responded to and chided her. However, the chance to revisit that heavy topic Rena had brought up before never arrived. Rena can be like that. Yes, she was trying to say something to him. As soon as I got home, I tossed aside my school bag and changed in a hurry. The effects of only having a light lunch were starting to show, as my stomach began to let out fickle growls. Alright, let's go to Angel Mart! It's time to face the light of Ella's desserts! Preparations for battle complete! Tally-ho! Angel Mart had a decidedly different feel to it compared to yesterday. Dessert fiesta today, at minutes by reservation only. Nonetheless, the front of the store was being swarmed over by a dozen young men, judging by how they were looking upwards in jealousy instead of entering the store they weren't invited to tease. Why would they gather here if they knew they couldn't get in? I found out the answer when I passed through the crowd and began to climb the stairs to enter the restaurant. Are you a participant? Do you have a ticket? Yeah, well, I was lucky. As soon as I said that, I was immediately mobbed. It was like being in the middle of a football scrum on a crowded train. What's going on? The reason was this. It wasn't just one ticket per person. One ticket could let up to 4 people inside. So it's like that, huh? It seems like I should have invited Rena and the others. Thanks for the tip. But I'll pretend I didn't hear that. With an uplifting smile, I turned and ignored them. When I did, their arms all reached out at once, like the souls of the damned seeking succor. That ticket can admit up to 4 people. Please bring us with you. Oh, what selfish people. This is the only reason they were crowded in front of the restaurant? Dozens of wretched arms reached out for me like the teeth on a giant rake and grasped at the air. I was already climbing the stairs to the entrance. What artless dick! Grab him! This is something to joke about. I flew up the rest of the stairs and threw myself inside the restaurant. It was like I'd entered a different world. The miserable throng of the dam hurled curses at me at the other side of the glass door, but inside of this completely soundproofed and air-conditioned restaurant, with the angelic smile of a waitress to welcome me, they were nothing more than a refreshing piece of scenery. I knew I shouldn't laugh, but I began to let out a sinister cackle. Good afternoon. Welcome to Angelmore. Due to today's dessert fiesta, the restaurant is reserved for customers who won the draw. Could I ask for your name and ticket? Well, I don't have a ticket, but I should be on the guest list. Maibara. There it is. I'm sorry, but may I please have your full name? Keiichi Maibara. My apologies for the inconvenience. You're here by special invitation, right? I'll show you to your seat. Please, this way. The mood inside the room was incredibly heated. The booths were packed to the brim. Men in their prime were stuffing their faces with dainty desserts that didn't suit them at all. It was a rather unnerving spectacle. Soon as I was shown to my seat, Shion arrived. Good afternoon! Welcome to Angelmore! Hey Shion, thanks so much for today. I really appreciate it. You were a bit late, so I was getting worried. I'm really happy you came, though. It may have been because of other customers were around, her tone was less casual, but she still capped off that welcome with her usual brilliant smile. As you can see, there's a lot of customers here today. I'm not sure I'll be able to take a break. Please take your time and relax until I'm finished. When I'm done, let's go play somewhere, okay? Whispering that last part into my ear, she winked and returned to the kitchen. Maybe it was because the mood in the restaurant was so heated, but Shion seemed a bit bolder. Even a small change in her mannerisms was enough to set my heart aflutter. Sorry to keep you waiting! While I was overwhelmed by the atmosphere inside the restaurant, orders from the new summer menu were carried out one after another. Every single one was extravagantly huge. I get it. You can eat all these amazing things for free! No wonder why a ticket is worth its weight in gold! On top of that, all of them was plain delicious. From dishes from a general appeal to insane ones aimed at a specific audience, there were absolutely no gaps in their repertoire. No matter how you look at it, I don't think one person eat this much. Well, let's just leave it at that for now. It didn't feel like relaxing in here at all, probably because the fervor inside the restaurant was clearly abnormal. All the other booths were crammed with groups of 4. Sleazy men were gorging like pigs on cutely decorated desserts. It wouldn't have been a surprise if they started licking the plates. It was a little more than unsettling. It piqued my interest, so I started listening in on their conversations and what things I heard. Angelmore is so moe. Me, I brought my ticket for 70,000 of redacted auctions. I told work that I attended relatives' funeral. The uniforms here are the greatest. I wonder if the waitress was right before me. Am I supposed to wire my pants right now? Meow. Ew. I heard that planning on selling Angelmore figures. We'll have to pay the heat on the next Wonder Festival. They sell used Angelmore Festival uniforms on the 4th floor redacted in Akiba, but they cost 280,000. This is an absurd price. Animal costs 80,000. When Broba closed down, the going rate for theirs was 12,000. That's the price for used ones. Knockoffs are less than half of that. A knockoff from redacted is fine with me. I wanted to start selling them. Well, I put mine on a life-size figure I did to buy off on a redacted for several hundred thousand. If I can wake up every day to an angel from Angel, that can really get my gears going. The words speaking for how their mouths were pretty much incomprehensible jargon, but they still keenly conveyed that hidden meaning was behind an invisible aura of abnormality. Yeah. Sorry to keep you waiting. The next dessert is Tropical Cinnamon Love Affair. Is something the matter?
No. It's kind of different inside the restaurant today. Our restaurant is pretty famous in their circles. Well, we're aiming for that, so it's all well and good. But during the festas, there's something more of a hardcore crowd, so it can be a handful. The waitress informed me quietly with a wry smile. The customers seem rather wild up, almost like a pack of hyenas. It seems like a lot of the customers today came from unreasonably far away. Those types of people are fairly prone to losing their self-control, so it's a little scary. If you don't keep your guard up, something bad can happen. What does she mean by keep your guard up? At the moment, a large crash resounded through the room. I turned around, startled, to see the waitress had fallen down and spilled the order she was carrying around to the customer. Wait, isn't that Shion? I'm so sorry. Your food is, Oh, what have you done? The cheese I bought at a certain specialty store for a whole 1,800 yen are all sticky with frosting. Ew! What the hell is that? For somebody who just met with disaster, he seems awfully happy. How tragic. It seems a little Miss Waitress here is going to wipe me up for the bottom of her heart. Ew! The conversation suddenly veered off in an odd direction. Hey, what did he say? Wipey? Did he want Shion to wipe him down? Right over that obvious affair at 10 a.m. Oh, no! Ew! We're not reading that part. That is... No more. Nah. That chant quickly spread throughout the room. Holy horror, Shion went pale. She looked over to a more experienced waitress for help, but was only met with a head shaking out of pity. Sonozaki was tripped. Customers who do that purposely get their clothes dirty have been on the rise lately. So you're saying she was tripped? What happened just now wasn't an accident. It was on purpose. The regular girls are careful of that, so they definitely won't end up like that, but Sonozaki is only a seasonal hire, so she had her guard down. The customers today could easily pick up on that, so she's been targeted since this morning. What's the manager doing? He should kick those thugs out! We're in the service industry, so there's not much we can do about it. She laughed as she said in a resigned tone. Shion trembled uncontrollably with a dishcloth in her hand as she turned bright red. The man who had been doused in frosting splayed out on the bed. Nope. From my male point of view, it might have just been a ridiculous spectacle that I could just smile wryly at, but from a woman's point of view, this is obviously pure humiliation. When I was trapped by those thugs, I'd been paralyzed with fear. Shion fiercely stood up to them and saved me. Still, as humiliating as it was, Shion was also partly to blame for this. It wasn't as though her life was at stake, right? Keiichi! Even these guys, they were just going to jeer at her in a bit of a lewd situation. It's not like they're going to eat Shion alive or anything. It'd be alright if I just consult her afterward. Even I was scared, but Kei-chan was in trouble, so I had to be brave and do my best. When a man was being assailed by 3 thugs while paralyzed with fear, Shion saved me without a second thought. What about now? These sleazy, filthy degenerates were trying to pin that blame on Shion. This time our roles were reversed. Hey, Maibara Keiichi, if you don't save her now, when will we be able to repay her the debt you owe her? You scared Maibara Keiichi? At that time, Shion, no, Mio, didn't even show a hint of hesitation. And what about now? I'm not hesitating. Then what? If you're not hesitating, then why aren't you helping her? Now, nope. Shut up, you greasy... Get out of here before I get angry! I grasped Shion's shoulder firmly and pulled her behind me. Kei-chan! It seems you don't understand. Yonder waitress is the one who... This is your punishment. The one who needs punishing is you. Enough of the empty words. If you're a man, talk with your fists. Oof. My body was lifted in the air like nothing. I was thrown right back to my own seat. This guy is strong? No matter how you look at it, athletic and this lardo aren't even the same area code. Many otaku are unexpectedly well versed in some obscure martial art. Don't be misunderestimating us. The man swerved, slowing off his gum line. Kei-chan, are you okay? Damn it, how lame do I look right now? You were tripped, weren't you, Shion? They're the ones on the wrong here, so don't let them take advantage of you. That may be, but it was still my fault.
No. Oh no. Did you go think this is enough to make me give up? One more time! Nope. Ha ha ha! You're all talk! I'm not done yet! Rise my will to fight! Not just running, I planted onto every one of my steps as firmly as I closed the distance to the lard ball. Each time I ripped my foot off the floor, I could feel my very spirit flare over the point of impact. Oops. Everything slowed down like I was walking underwater. As I stepped forward in that viscous flow of time, I calmly measured the gap between us, where our difference in height reach was my ultimate advantage. There was an ever so tiny distance between us, where only my punch would ever be able to reach. I unleashed my iron fist of righteous anger, but it flew toward his face slowly like I was punching underwater. Reacting to the smirk on his face, he easily slipped inside my punch. I hadn't realized it until now, but this mired time, I was able to observe his baffling counterattack with almost painful clarity. His arm slowly swung around in a large windmill motion, wrapped around my whiff punch, and descended in an arc. That arm swung around the arms of a clock and came to contact with my head, twisting my upper body around. Dragging my head along, he followed through with another rotation. This time, he rotated his entire body like a top, followed by another rotation. Combined defense and offense, it was a brilliant counter. That's right. 3 times I was thrown after 3 rotations, I think. In this viscous region of time, I was unable to struggle, and I could only wait dumbstruck until the moment I was thrown. The moment that sluggish temporal anomaly abruptly ended. You lack training, young man! I was low to admit, but against somebody trained in martial arts, I couldn't win through force of will alone. After my consciousness faded in a wave of dizziness, when I came to, I was lying down in my own seat. Thankfully, you weren't injured. The more experienced waitress from before wiped the sweat from my brow with a towel. While she was doing that, a red-faced and teary-eyed Shion trudged over. Are you okay? Doing all that for my sake? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, too. I wasn't much help. I've never won a fight before. No, you were trying to help. It made me happy. I'm not joking. It's just that I was thinking that it was lucky Keisha came here today. As she said that, she stuck her tongue out teasingly. She wiped off the whipped cream with the washcloth that she was holding in her hands. Sonozaki, you can take your break now. You still have 1 or 2 hours left, don't you? No, it's fine. Even though it's just part-time, it's still a paying job. I want to work properly while I'm on the clock. So really, you don't have to worry about me. She couldn't even put up a brave front. I would never even think for a second that Mion could be that weak. This was Shion. She had been harassed by some unreasonable riffraff. That was reality. Kei-chan, don't mind me. Please eat as much dessert as you can. When you're done, we'll have you fill out a survey. Well then, I gotta get back to the floor. After some consoling words and a sympathetic smile to Shion, the other waitresses started to head back to work. That's where I stopped her. Excuse me, could I borrow your phone? The phone. It's by the register. I'll show you where. I pulled a 10-yen coin from my wallet. This wasn't about saving face. My being a worthless cow was just an unchangeable fact, but I could just cry myself to sleep about that later tonight. Now's not the time for tears. I had a fight! If I recall, 1 ticket is good for up to 4 people, right? Is this alright if I call over 3 more people? Yes, that's fine. For the time being, I'll write them down on the guest list. Could I have their names? I turned around and glared at the greasy hooligan who subjected Shion to that humiliation. There are 3 things that aren't working in your favor today, punk. First is I owe Shion. The second, that I'm a man who's not afraid to throw away his pride and win. And third is, they're the most powerful club of members in history. Please add Ryugu Reda, Hojo Sadako, and Furude Rika to the list. Understood. I'll do that. And I have the best, most powerful club members join the fray. They'll bring out 1,000 foes. Prepare to meet your maker!
This is a nice restaurant. Oh, the uniforms are cute. Ryan wants to wear them too. Oh. On top of that, we're being treated to dessert. I'm deeply moved.
Yeah, eat as much as you like. Don't worry about my share.
Keiichi, enough of the charades. Let's get to the point.
Rena and Rika put down their forks, and Sadako broached the subject. After looking at them for a few moments, I pressed my forehead firmly into the table. I beg you. I don't care if you make fun of how pathetic I am. Please lend me your strength. The three of them seemed surprised by the sudden turn of events, but nevertheless listened to what I had to say without making fun of my unusual behavior.
What's the matter? Something happened, didn't it? Didn't it?
Actually, Mio's younger sister Shion is working part-time at this restaurant.
That little sister you're talking about, right? Could it be her? Could it? She resembles her. Resemble? That's just Mio with her hair down, isn't it?
I didn't know what to say.
If Keiichi says that's Shion, then that's Shion.
They might be twins,
but can they really look that much alike? They're called monozygotic twins. They really can look identical.
Mio and Rena gave the most plausible explanation, so everyone else was convinced. Well then, do you believe me? I'll get to the point then. I recounted everything that had happened, how Shion was targeted and how she was antagonized by the customers and the humiliation that was forced upon her. Also, how incredibly pathetic I was. I included everything about it without trying to hide it.
That's awful. Poor Shi-chan. However, for you to be unable to help her, there should be a limit to how slightly you can be.
There's nothing I can say to that.
Sadako, to admit that you lost and to seek help is a very difficult thing to do. Keiichi chose to help Shi-chan rather than to save his pride. So pathetic.
Rena's follow-up stung a bit, but I could only be thankful that she understood. Sadako was calling me all sorts of names, but there were no malign intentions behind her words.
Then what should we do?
Her voice was monotone, but there was a hint of resolve in her words. I replied to Rika's suggestive silence in kind of my own quiet resolve. Well, I thought it'd be something like that. It's a bit much for Keiichi to handle alone. Huh? Then you'll help?
Of course, Keiichi. We'll help anybody who's being bullied.
I remember when I was cornered by those thugs, what Shion had said about the strong feeling of solidarity in Hinamizawa began to really hit home. However, my brother Keiichi, now is not the time to get choked up with tears of gratitude. Now is the time to fight. Sorry, I owe you one.
You tried your best but didn't stand a chance alone. How sad, how sad.
Rika gently patted my head for me, but there was no mindless pity in the palm of that hand. It was overflowing with strong, dependable feeling of leave the rest to us. Mio can't join us due to the various circumstances, so I'll temporarily be taking command. Our strategy will revolve around Shion's defense and extermination of the enemy's combat capability.
Who's the enemy? Are there a lot of them?
From this point forward, anybody who messes with Shion shall be considered an enemy combat. There are no rules of engagement. Compensation will be dessert you just ate. Any questions? Everybody had already entered club mode, with their eyes peering at the riffraff clambering around inside the restaurant like predators stalking their prey from the darkness. Rika held up her hand. What is it, Rika?
Do we have to show mercy? Of course we don't have to! We don't need to show mercy to that rabble that would dare lay a finger on Mion's little sister! Then it's okay, Keiichi?
Rika was serious. She was really pretty much ready to murder someone. I'm counting on you, Rika. I, my bride Keiichi, shall assume all responsibility. Rout them!
Already! Reddy's going to do her best too!
Sorry, please do!
Keiichi, you don't have to be so tense. Well, just wait and see. By the time you finish that parfait, we'll have to start cleaning up too. Well then, everyone, let's give it our all. Go for it, yeah!
Yeah! Thus, the most powerful warband the world had ever known, trained by Mio, began to move. I was the oldest, the only boy, and behaved like a leader, but when we consider our club activities, I was by far the most junior member. Individually, everyone beside me had terrifying combat abilities. If all of them combined their strengths to protect Shion, I couldn't even imagine. I was probably about to witness something terrible and awe-inspiring. So Nozaki, $5 parfaits for table 7. Sure thing. Shion carried out the order to the tables. For Shion to carry all 5 parfaits without wobbling took so much effort, she didn't even have the breathing room to pay attention to her feet. Hey, comrades, here she comes again. This time we'll have her spill everything on my pants. Nope. It was the same, scheme that they had covered this time earlier. This time another one of them was trying out for himself. The very depravity of these men was a full-out attack. Rena, this is Keiichi. Ambush them around tables 5 and 6. Rena, do you copy?
The restaurant's uniform's so cute! I want to take them home!
She on her bottom swaying while carrying the parfaits was being chased around by an equally swaying Rena. She was supposed to be escorting Shion, but Rena was instead transfixed by the back of her uniform. From a normal person's point of view, it was probably like having a fox guard a hen house. But when it comes to Rena, things are different. Cute mode, 120% synchronization. We've won.
When Rena's in that state, even the laws of physics don't apply.
Shion's legs, unsteady and defenseless, were being targeted by those sleaze bags. Now, my comrades! No, we're not reading that part. Shining Lucifer of Horror Me Mecha. A leg snaked out to trip Shion's defenseless feet. Oh, God. Gads! 3 of them at once! Yeah! Oof! Huh? It happened in an instant. The 3 fools writhed in pain as their legs bent in unnatural angles. Ah! What is this madness? Rena teetered into view and gave him a warning?
No mischief, okay? No means no. No! Rena's going to be the one to take her home!
This girl, what's with that strange technique? The human scum clutched at their bruised ankles as they passed out.
That's our Rena. No matter how many times I see it, it's always frighteningly quick.
Yeah, it's an unbreakable barrier. Anyone within a 2-meter radius who attacks Shion is completely obliterated by Rena. As Shion was making her rounds through the restaurant, there were people here and there collapsing with welts on their legs or hands.
Keiichi, this is Rena. There's nobody left to help bother Shi-chan, so I'm going to take her home now.
Rena, this is Keiichi. Good work. Please continue the mission. Also, permission to take home denied. I repeat, permission to take home denied.
Then I'll just look.
I guess looking is just fine. That wouldn't prevent her from guarding Shion, so I guess it's okay. Anyway, thanks to this, I knew who had tried to mess with Shion. Anyone who was clutching at their arm or leg while they were writhing in agony was basically branded by their bruises. Currently, we have finished identifying all identity forces. Proceeding to the next phase, Sadako, this is Keiichi. What's your status?
This is Sadako. That's a rude way to ask. Keiichi, exactly who do you think I am?
Sadako was in the kitchen. She had spread open a sketch of the restaurant and the counter, replete with ordered chips and their destinations, and was now sorting through the freshly made desserts. Hey, what are you doing?
Now, Sunazaki, it's alright. Just leave it to her.
More importantly, we're taking all these orders at once, so I'm counting on you. The veteran waitress just briskly directing her juniors as the trays went out one after another. All the desserts that passed through Sadako's hands were delivered at once.
Lots of cute desserts are coming!
I think you know this, but don't touch them. At least, if you still value your life.
I know, but
Certainly, they were all incredibly cute-looking desserts. They were all worked so hard that you could enjoy even before taking your first bite. However, since Sadako had meddled with them, they were nothing more than unpredictable danger. Blissfully ignorant of the fact that these men were now stuffing their faces. This is... Almost right away, they realized that something was wrong. Sadako, what did you mix in there? It couldn't have been salt or Tabasco, right?
My, what are you saying, Keiichi? You said no mercy. I might not look like it, but when I get down to business, I like to be very thorough.
As she said that, she twirled a dubious file in her fingers before putting it away smartly into her pouch.
Rika, this is Sadako. The customers are moving. Escort duty is all yours. Leave it to me.
Come to think of it, I didn't see Rika anywhere. Where could she be lurking? Several men stood up suddenly from their seats, surveying the restaurant for something. That breathless visioning. That look of relief when they found the single placard from the ceiling. Written on the placard was the word, restroom. They began a mad rush in that direction. It was just 1 or 2 people. All the people that were branded as the enemy were standing up from their seats while clutching at their stomachs. Ugh, I think I was a little too greedy. Where's the washroom? Mewtwo. Not a number 1, but a number 2. I need to cash out, meow. Where's the toilet? I found it. You're in for it now. I felt dirty just thinking about what Sadako probably did to their desserts. The problem was how to follow this up. I was intrigued, so I followed the rush of men to the washroom. The narrow hallway connecting to the restroom was crammed with about 10 men. What is this? As I peered over to see what was happening, whoa, it seemed that the toilet was clogged, backflowing, unleashing a loud gurgling sound and a terrible stench. There was no way to use it in this state. Damn, that Sadako, what a frightening display of power. This wasn't Sadako's doing. It was divine punishment. Yeah, they were just unlucky. I'll just apologetically ask one of the customers here to clean it up. I can't do my business like this. What do we do, meow comrades? It was a brilliant combination of traps, but it'd be better if there was one more push to the kicker. Seeing as it was Sadako, she wouldn't have overlooked that. Meow, let's come to this. It's time for the last resort. Faced with a moral dilemma, that man only had one other option. Woman's restroom. Isn't using the girls' restroom going to get us in trouble? I'm pretty sure there are no female customers today. Why didn't I think of that before? Women's toilets are the best. What a brazen bunch they are. The men's sweat, now pouring from their brows, made a mad rush to the girls' room without any hesitation.
Me?
There was a girl here. It was Rika. I'm sorry, I read that as Enwa. The men stood there, frozen in various complicated poses, indicating their surprise. Rika also seemed dumbfounded by the sudden turn of events, but the look on her face was strangely perfect. This was all part of the plan as well. You sly dog, Rika. I could never underestimate you. This is, you see, Mademoiselle.
Me?
The men's service is a bit dangerous at the moment, so we just want to borrow the toilet here, right? Meow, meow.
Me?
But I guess it's not right after all, right, my comrades? Just by having a girl stand here in the restroom, I never knew it would put up such an overwhelming barrier. There's no way anybody would be brave enough to lift Rika out of the way to try to do their business. This is the most they could do after all. If it were a man in full club mode, for example, someone like me, they'd plow right through Rika without a second thought. Now what are you gonna do? The price for tormenting Shio still hasn't been paid.
If you're in trouble, I can help you.
That would be much appreciated. How would you do that?
You can use one of the toilets outside. I'll show you to them.
That would be perfect! Please! At least we'll become a group and what the hell? Rika, with a pleasant smile on her face, guided them with a casual stride in her step. In this race against time, her slow pace was sadistic torture. Haha, yes. I love Rika. Mademoiselle, is the toilet far from here?
We'll get there soon.
Obeying Rika's directions, they were about to leave the restaurant.
Keiichi, finish it. Give him hell.
Yeah, leave it to me. I spread my arms out and blocked them as they tried to leave the restaurant. What's the meaning of this? We're at DEFCON 1 here. Listen up. You know what happens if you set one foot outside this door, right? What's the meaning of this preposterous statement?
Look, it's written right here on the ticket.
Not valid for re-entry, see?
You're free to use any toilet you want, but the moment you step outside that door, you can't come back.
You remember this?
I don't want to guide anybody who says scary things like that.
Everybody panicked as Rika began to turn back. They could only figuratively and literally fall in line. All the waitresses also lined up to see them off.
Thank you very much for coming.
We shall return! The bell rang playfully as the door shut behind them.
How pathetic! Too easy! We did it! Yay!
Rena and Sadako clapped their hands together. I couldn't hold a handle of those guys by myself, but when we get the group together, we sent them packing like a herd of cattle.
When opponents this week, any of us could take them on by by ourselves. Keiichi, you need to up your game.
I loathe to admit it, but Sadako's right. Damn it! One day I'll be strong enough to be worthy of standing alongside them. But
I'm really glad we were able to attack Mii-chan's little sister. Now there's none of those bad people who are playing pranks left.
you're blessed to have such wonderful friends, Sonozaki. The veteran waitress was also smiling. After the herd was set packing, and had calmed down completely inside the restaurant, Shion was flustered as she glanced between us and the now empty seats.
You did that for me?
I mean... Shion's expression was somewhere between happy and guilt-ridden. Her face turned slightly red as she ran into the kitchen.
Oh, Shi-chan is cute! They're really hard to insult!
Given Shion's personality, there's no way she'd think us directly. We might have been excessive in our means, but I'm really glad we were able to save her. I think you noticed already, but Sonozaki is very grateful. As a representative of the floor staff here, I also extend my gratitude. The applause quickly spread throughout the entire restaurant. Not only the other waitresses, but the customers that were genuinely here to enjoy the restaurant, the desserts, everyone was lauding our efforts. When we had mostly finished our eating and were filling out the survey, Rika made her return. Oh, good work! Did everything go all right? You took a while.
I'm sorry. I got lost on the way back. It was a lot of trouble.
Rika likes to stray down some pretty strange roads, so she gets lost pretty often.
How she gets lost just guiding people to a nearby toilet. In the manga, it looked like she led them to the woods, which is really funny. And it didn't ever seem like she came back. I'd like to imagine she led them down, like, Sadako's area.
Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. Rika has a lot of strong points and more than make up for that.
I can see that. The expression in the girls' room, you're quite the thespian.
Keiichi was being horrible. He was thinking if I were in their shoes, I'd just run her over or rush into the washroom.
What? What I was thinking show up on my face again?
Keiichi was a pervert.
No, I mean... I could laugh about it then, but a few days later, a newspaper headline read, 10 unidentified men were taken into custody in Hideyama. The men claimed they were traveled from Shishibone City by foot to find a toilet, but the spot they were taken into custody was XX kilometers away from Shishibone. When I read that article, I realized how terrifying Rika really was.
Well, thanks for treating me. I'm happy that you called me here today.
Oh, you're going home already? You can stay a little longer.
I was in the middle of organizing some drawers. If I leave it like that, I won't be able to put out the futon.
Ah, I guess that's true.
Oops, looks like I called her at a bad time.
Yeah, when Rena phoned her, she was in the middle of cleaning her room, but she still came. Well, it was an emergency, so it couldn't be helped. Besides that, I gotta eat a lot of dessert, so I'm very happy.
Thanks for today. Sorry for calling you out suddenly.
Tell Shion I said bye.
I'll be taking my leave then. Rena, please take your time.
Yeah, I will. Later.
Rika and Sadako, in a good mood, horsed around with each other as they left. While Rena and I were having a discussion about the dessert we just ate, Shion arrived with some coffee. Oh, did the two little ones leave already? Hearing them called little ones was so strange, I inadvertently burst out laughing. Apparently they're in the middle of cleaning, so they went home. Shion had brought enough coffee for 4 people. I heard from my senior, it seems you went through a lot of trouble for my sake.
It was no trouble at all. None other than Shi-chan was in a French after all. Oh, is it alright if I call you Shi-chan? It matches with Mi-chan, so I thought it'd be cute.
Well, whatever you want. Shion seemed a bit hesitant when Rena started talking to her. Rena's pretty sharp about something, so Shion was pretty worried that Rena would find out that she was Mion after talking like this. Shion said that she had to work soon and hurried off back to the kitchen, leaving behind some coffee for the 2 of us. She was a bit upset with Rena.
Maybe she thought I was being too friendly. Oh.
She's just embarrassed.
Still, they really do look the same. Instead of twins, it's like there's another Mi-chan.
They look the same, but the atmosphere around them, or rather their insides, are completely different. I think those types of twins are pretty interesting, though.
You think that, Keiichi? I think they're identical on the inside, too.
It somehow became silent. Rena was just staring at the pattern the milk made on the surface of her coffee without saying a word. For somebody like me who could never stop talking, it was a rather uncomfortable moment. Rena's off-put mannerisms seemed to imply I said something I shouldn't have. That unpleasantness carried on for a little while. Rena, you said it today, right? That Mion was hurting.
Did I say something like that?
Don't play dumb with me! You definitely said it. On the way home from school. Rena answered by laughing, while continuing to play dumb, questioning if she said that. As thick-headed as I was, I had a faint realization. Rena wanted to say that I was the one who hurt Mion. But when? Me? Hypothetically, if something like that happened, it's not something I did out of malice. I continued the conversation, but left out the assumption that I hurt Mion.
Yeah, I think that's true. I don't think Keiichi has any bad intentions.
Rena replied, also leaving out the assumption that I hurt Mion. But that confirmed it. I don't know how it happened, but it seemed that I hurt Mion. Rena was the most upset with me due to the fact I hadn't realized it.
I don't want you to misunderstand. It's not like Rena is mad at you.
Seeing right through what I was thinking, Rena said that as she smiled even more gently than usual.
It's just that... How do I say this? It's hard.
If I made a mistake, please say so clearly. I'm so thick-headed I discuss even myself. If there's something I should apologize for, and I'd want to know even a little quicker so I can make up for it.
I don't think that Keiichi made a mistake. Depending on how you look at it, Mi-chan might be the one who's being unfair. Taking the stance that the girl was the one being unfair might be unfair in itself.
What Rena said was draped in mystery. Unfortunately, I had no idea what she meant. The only thing I got out of it is that I had said or done something to inadvertently hurt Mion. I'm begging you, Rena. Mion's one of my best friends. I don't want to leave something between us that caused problems later on. So please tell me, how did I hurt her?
I can't tell you. You need to realize something like this for yourself.
Rena was smiling like she always did, but spoke bluntly. The fact that she had the strength of will surprised me for a moment. I'm asking you because I can't figure it out, you know? My tone had intentionally become harsh. Rena was also surprised for a moment, but quickly returned to her flat demeanor.
Well then, I guess just a hint is fine. This is special, okay?
Sorry. Please. I'll think about this seriously. Rena looked around the restaurant, searching for Shion. Shion was working enthusiastically, but without confidence as usual.
Shi-chan, if she ties her hair up, it's impossible to tell apart from Mi-chan, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So then, if Mi-chan let her on her hair, would she be impossible to tell apart from Shi-chan?
Probably, but what does this have to do with anything?
What if that her being the younger twin was a lie? That she was just Mi-chan pretending to be her sister? What would you think?
Rena was sharper than her daily behavior bellied. I was hesitant in verbally affirming that, but it was the right answer. It might be unfair to answer a question with another question, but if, like you say, Mion is just pretending to be Shion, what purpose would that serve? After maintaining the silence for a while, Rena glanced at the clock.
That's what I want you to think about. Maybe that was too much of a hint. Huh?
After thanking me for the dessert, Rena stood up from her seat.
Sorry, I was asked to buy a few things, so it's about time I left. Is it okay with you if you tell Shion I'm sorry I didn't say goodbye?
Yeah, I'll tell her.
Sorry.
Huh?
Rena is so short-tempered. Sorry for getting angry.
Sometimes I come off like that too. Like, I feel like that. I feel like I'm being mean.
Keiichi isn't the only one at fault here.
Rena was harsh in her apology, but I was the one who should have really apologized.
I think to Mi-chan it's something that doesn't bother her much anymore. So if you want to forget the whole thing happened, that's fine too. But you see, as a girl, I'd hope that Keiichi realized it by himself and come to apologize of his own volition.
Switching to cute mode, only at the end, she disappeared in the direction of the register. I do that too. But yeah. While I was staring into space, somebody suddenly tapped me on the shoulder. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm finally done. It was Shion, who changed to her street clothes. She flashed a smile while greeting me. Thank you so much for today. Everything was delicious. We were really happy with it. Oh no, don't mention it, but I'm glad everybody had fun. Huh? That girl that was here left as well? Yeah, she has some shopping to do. She said she was sorry for leaving without saying anything. I see. Well then, should we leave as well? Even though I'm off duty, I'm still nervous around the workplace. We ended up strolling around without any destination in particular. I had been sitting the entire time, so I was in need of fresh air. When we left, the sky had already become draped in a veil of darkness. It's gotten dark already, even though I had promised I'd be finished early. Shion seemed upset there wasn't much time left. Oh well, at least we got a little time to chat like this. Saying that, Shion set out for the tree-lined boulevard behind the station. The front of the station was slowly becoming crowded with businessmen heading home. Well then, I guess I should start with an introduction. I was mistaken for my sister when we first met, so we never got to properly introduce ourselves. I could only smile and laugh wryly. My name is Shino Sonozaki. I'm only similar to my older sister in appearance. My sister's rough around the edges and hot-headed, but I'm a composed, methodical person. I remember that Rena and I had been talking about earlier. I said they looked the same, but their personalities were different. When Rena said they were both the same, I don't know what tipped her off, but Rena figured out that Shion was Mion. Also related to that, she said that I hurt Mion. Rena had only given one hint. That was, why is Mion pretending to be Shion? Shion, what did you hear about me from Mion? My sister seems to have taken a liking to you. She talks about you quite a bit, like other club activities, about getting pranked, and bringing you back, boyish kind of stories. You really do get along. Boyish kind of stories, huh? Come to think of it, I think there was something Shion told me before. Kei-chan, you don't think of my sister as a girl, do you? Was that what happened that hurt Mion? Mion herself said she wished she'd been born a boy and that being a girl didn't suit her. She said a lot of things to that effect, didn't she? Kei-chan, you look like you're having fun. Huh? No, that's not true. Even though you're a bad at hiding these, you sure like to lie, don't you? Still, I don't hate you for it. Saying that, she lightly chopped my forehead. Even though Shion was enjoying herself, I was still trying to figure out how I'd hurt Mion. I was having a hard time figuring out that riddle that Ren had left me with. Hey, see that? Don't you think it's pretty? You think even a guy would find it pretty? Yeah, it's pretty. Shion was having fun window shopping, dragging me around all sorts of stores I would normally never enter. It wasn't like she was begging for me to buy her anything. I wasn't getting bored either. It was just something to talk about as we walked around. In an easygoing way, we browsed through numerous stores. We discussed all sorts of topics I knew nothing about, but I didn't lose interest. I had the feeling she was good at conversation. Kei-chan, is this your first time doing this sort of thing? Yeah, it is. If somebody didn't bring me into these accessory shops, I don't think I'd set one foot in my entire life. Not that. I meant more like this. Well, I looked back when Shion suddenly linked her arm with mine. Hey, you don't have to act so surprised. It's not so embarrassing to link arms with a girl, is it? Shion's expression was a little bit miffed, but suggestive at the same time. I'm not embarrassed. If you want some arms, I can spare one or two. Here! Kei-chan, you really know how to entertain someone. I see why my sister took a liking to you. If you don't want my arm, I'm taking it back. Aw, come on. I'm happy to have it. Laughing good spirits, she unlocked her arm with mine. My heart skipped a beat. This question might be a bit mean, but I enjoy seeing your reaction, Kei-chan. Have you ever been arm in arm with a girl before? Around a bonfire at a field trip doesn't count, by the way. That little devil. She was asking that question knowing full well what the answer would be. Well, if field trips are out, this is rough. I thought as much. That impish laugh, it really is the same as Mion's. You really are Shion, right? You're not just Mio saying that you're Shion, are you? Are you thinking that my sister might pretend to be me? I thought you were twins until just now, but the way that you mess around is just like Mio. You're just saying that. You can tell us apart easily. What do you mean by that? If my sister was holding your arm like this, would you get nervous? I would. I'd be completely on edge worrying about when she'd go for an arm lock. She didn't laugh so hard she had to hold on to her sides. Hey, is that really that funny? You're tearing me up. No, it's just... I was just thinking about how hopeless my sister is. She isn't even able to get a young man hot and bothered while she's arm in arm with him. She really is a failure as a woman. I remember once again that I'd heard someone say that before. Sometimes I think my sister would have been better off if she'd been born a boy. If she did, I might have fallen for her. Just kidding. Mio did say something about wanting to be born a boy. My sister's on the fence as whether she wants to be a boy or a girl. Well, it's the price she pays for living in an awkward lifestyle. Just leave her be. You've been saying some pretty harsh things about your sister right now. Mio has some soft parts to her that I don't like. The way that Shion somehow talked was cold. Shion, do you not get along with Mion? Well, we get along well enough. Still, there's a few things for which I can't forgive her as her sister. Hey, look at that! Don't you think it's cute? I turned around to look at where Shion was pointing. What there was this familiar display of a window of a toy shop. The same shop that was the stage for the incident that occurred during last Sunday's club activities. What Shion was pointing at was a display with a plethora of adorable dolls that looked like the sorts girls would like. I wonder why girls like these kind of things. It's because they're cute. Don't you think they're cute, Kei-chan? I'm a man, so I don't really get that vibe. Now. Which one of these do you think is the cutest out of all these, Kei-chan? Shion, pulling on my arm, motioned to the row of dolls. They were all lined up like they were close sisters, taking a commemorative photo. A few of them seemed strangely familiar. I've seen those four over there somewhere. Oh, I guess they really are famous, even if you know about them. Shion sounded impressed. These are new dolls that were brought in from England. They still have some available here, but around the cities they have trouble keeping them on the shelves. Even though they're supposed to be inexpensive, it seems they're starting to come at a premium. I guess girls still like these kind of things even as they grow up. It depends on the person. I think that girls who don't like dolls and stuffed animals are pretty few and far in between. Even my tomboy of a sister said these were adorable. Oh, even Mio says they're adorable? That is pretty amazing. That's right. I just remembered. The store owner gave this one to us after Sunday's event. Except for Mion, who was a relative. Everybody had gotten something. I really do think that one's the best. That frilly dress really gives it something. That's it. That's the one the shop owner gave to me. So it seems. She replied softly but clearly. Uncle Yoshiro gave these out as a thanks for helping liven things up at the Sunday's event. It seems he gave them to 4 friends my sister brought along. So you got the doll with the dress then? What'd you think? It was really cute, right? As a man, there's no way I'd think it was cute. So, what did you do with the doll? I wasn't really going to do anything with it, so I gave it to someone. To who? As Shion laughed, I could hear an audible click run through my head, like a piece of a jigsaw puzzle snapping into place. Thank you much for today, everyone. You made the event turn out great. It's not much, but here's something extra for today. Uncle Yoshiro, isn't there a little something for me too? My, quite an adorable one, is it not? When Sadako and Rika opened up the bag, there were cute little stuffed animals inside.
Wow, they're so cute! Can I take them home? I really can?
Which means there's something for me too? Whoa, I got a pretty adorable one. It was a stuffed toy wearing a beautiful dress. One that you used to play house. Rena's eyes were glued to my stuffed doll. Sadako was the same and Rika too? I see. It wasn't just Rena, Sadako, and Rika. There was one other person who seemed jealous. Keija got the one that fits in the least! Not wanting for her expression to give it away, she had said that to hide her embarrassment. Well, I guess it's cute and pretty, I can admit it's adorable, but a doll with changeable clothes is, Yeah, if you walked around with it, you'd be treated like a weirdo starting tomorrow. Definitely! Mion's usual teasing way of talking. I looked around to see who I'd give the doll to. Mion was right in front of me. Mion was the only one who hadn't received a present. So I thought about giving it to her, but I didn't.
Huh? You're giving it to me? To Rena? Thank you!
Turning away from Mion's covetous gaze, I gave the doll to Rena. Mion's smile bore into my back. There was no way I couldn't have noticed. Why did I not give it to Mion? Since Mion was the only one who didn't get anything, wouldn't it have just been standard practice to give it to her? At the time, I noticed that something was wrong. That's why I said it. Just protecting myself. If I didn't give it to Rena, then walking around the streets at night would be scary. No doubt, no doubt. I thought about giving it to Mio, but it just didn't feel right. Something dark flickered briefly in Mion's eyes. By the time I didn't notice it, I thought I'd give it to Mion. Why didn't I? You know it. Sometimes I wonder why I wasn't born a boy. Mion herself had said that with a laugh, so I didn't realize that I had hurt her. That's right. Mion's more suited for cool things, so I think having you help out there was the right choice. Huh? She asked, probably thinking she misheard me. That uniform would never suit somebody like Mion, but it was Shion. I think it works. Huh? You mean that? Shion, like Rena often does, spaced out and turned bright red. Mion seemed really happy. She seemed happy I complimented Shion, saying that it didn't suit Mion, but that it suited Shion. Saying that it suited her seemed to make her happy. Mion's younger twin sister. She's got a different personality, but she's a dead ringer for Mion. That's right, we look similar, but our personalities are completely different. I'm very kind and thoughtful, but Shion has a cold and scary personality. I think that when you guys were born, Shion got all the feminine aspects, unlike Mion. She's a cute, cheerful girl. Mion made a strange face that was both angry and happy at the same time. It seemed that she was happy that I said Shion was cute. Sneaking a look inside the box to say that she just put some of the leftovers inside would have been a lie. There was an elegant meal stuffed inside. Is it really okay? There's not like a ton of hot sauce mixed in or anything, right? Jeez, I'm not my sister. I wouldn't do that kind of thing. If you don't like it, you don't have to force yourself. I'll just go home and eat it myself. I'm not my sister. That was how she said it. Shion was insistent that she wasn't Mion. She was saying that she was Shion, and that I shouldn't think of her as Mion. When Mion was Shion, it carried a special meaning.
Mi-chan is mysterious, right? She's a girl, but it's like she's a guy.
That's what Rena said.
But you see, even that Mi-chan is actually really feminine.
Rena, how much did Mion pay you exactly?
That's not true. Jeez, I'm trying to have a serious conversation, you know? You know?
Rena began to pout, and now that probably wasn't the right time to joke around.
Mi-chan's the club president, so she's trying hard to lead everybody. But she's really a very cute girl. I really don't want you to forget that, Keiichi.
There was never a riddle to begin with. Rena was saying the answer right from the beginning. So then, I don't know what's going on anymore.
Yeah, I know Kei-chan didn't mean anything wrong. At least he didn't intend to. Yeah, Kei-chan isn't the type to hurt others. There's no reason for you to feel hurt by this, Mi-chan.
Then what was it? Frustration? Sadness? I don't know at all.
Did you want it? The doll, I mean? Even if you gave it to me, Rena, that wouldn't solve anything.
You're right.
How about this, Mi-chan? Try asking Keiichi. You might be able to solve the problem if you tackle it head on.
There's no way I could do that.
Is it too embarrassing to do that now?
I want to try again, as somebody other than Mio. This time I can be more honest with myself. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty fond of the relationship I have with Kei-chan. This might be selfish, but one more time.
Keiichi will definitely notice.
I wonder if that's true.
Rena will cheer on you too, so let's find a way for you to ease your sadness. Believe me, I won't let anything happen that will make you cry, Mi-chan.
I'll believe.
Keiichi will definitely come to understand. He'll say that he's sorry for saying something so callous, and he'll bring you to that store and buy that doll for you as a present.
Yeah.
And then, Mi-chan, you'll say thank you. You can't fool around. Say it honestly.
Yeah. If I said I wanted it, Kei-chan, would you buy it for me? Mio said it quietly, doing her best to quell her embarrassment. I would have reflexively begun to lightly ease her to hide my embarrassment, but like Mion, I quelled that impulse. Okay, Mion. As thanks for everything until today, I'll buy you whichever one you want. My voice cracked with the unfamiliar words. In order to not lose Mion trying her best, I tried my best as well. But I'm not Mion, I'm Shion. Shion, then. I'll buy it for you, Shion. She looked down, red-faced, as she pointed the doll in the dress to the store window. Is it really okay? The one in the dress is a little expensive, isn't it? This isn't a matter of price. This is a matter of feelings. When I was saved by Kei-chan from those unsavory customers today, I was really happy. Even though my coworkers didn't save me, Kei-chan did. You grabbed me by the shoulder really firmly, right? Right then, you really were cool. Even then, I was so embarrassed, I couldn't properly express my gratitude. I clamped my hand down on Shion's head and ruffled her head roughly, like how I would do Rena and the others. When I did that, Shion, like Rena, would have spaced out and blushed slightly. You don't have to think too hard about it. I should have just given it to you back then. If I did that, then everybody would have had a good laugh. Shion didn't respond. She turned bright red, like she was trying to hold back both laughter and tears. I'll go buy it for you right now. Wait right there. I'll go with you. Saying that, she grabbed onto my arm once again. She wasn't trying to be so stoic anymore. I think I know why my sister likes you. Hey, is it alright if I start to like you a bit too, Kei-chan? The unfamiliar situation made my head start to spin. Oh, what am I doing? I reached my limit. Smiling wryly to hide my embarrassment, I dragged Shion into the store with me. Excuse me, I want to buy the doll and the dress in that window. After a moment, I heard a voice of acknowledgement, and an apron-clad employee soon appeared. Kei-chan! Why are you here? This has nothing to do with you. I want to do with Kei-chan right now. Huh? What? Why is Kei-chan? Even if you ask why, I'd like to know the answer myself. Mio looked at me with an expression of confusion and surprise, but that was the same as me. If she was there, then it was next to me. I said it right at the beginning. I'm Sonozaki Shion, my sister's younger twin. Kei-chan, you can call me Shion, didn't you? Shion, saying that, pouted cutely. What is going on? Tell me, Shion! Not much. I was wondering what kind of person this Kei-chan you were so infatuated with was. So I happened to give him a ticket to the dessert fiesta. There, when I was being bothered by all sorts of troublesome customers, Kei-chan gallantly appeared and saved me by kicking them all to the curb, or something like that. Well, Mio and I raised our voices pathetically, expressing our confusion to the utmost. Mio, you phoned me yesterday, right? I didn't! I have no idea what you're talking about! I delivered that bento for you, didn't I, Kei-chan? That was me, right? Or was it my sister? The person known as Sonozaki Mio put together a bento and bravely went to a boy's home to deliver it, maybe? Because remember, Mio is the one that cooks extravagantly. Oh, you're a lot bolder than you look, sis. With a loud pop, a trail of smoke began to rise from Mion's head. No, I don't know! See, Kei-chan? My sister says she doesn't know, so everything up until yesterday was me. She's Sonozaki Shion. You might have thought it was my sister pretending to be me, but with this, there's no doubt, right? I couldn't tell from the moment. If there was a mirror around, I could have seen my eyes go wide from the shock. Now, little Miss Shopkeeper, could you wrap up that doll in the window? It's the first present for the person I've come to love, so make sure you tie it up nicely with a ribbon. Mio completely flustered was being cornered by a slide-faced Shion. My brain had stopped working. Wait, what? Huh? Kei-chan? What's going on? Well, let's go, Kei-chan. It's already dark out, so I'll see you home. Sis, sorry, but could you phone in the house in Okinomiya and have them send out a car? Maybe a van that we can fit a bike into, please. In contrast to Shion, who had glee written all over her face, Mio was an empty shell and looked like she would burst into tears at any moment. Kei-chan! After that, Mion's grumblings were unrelenting. I hope I hid the fact that they were actually two separate people, but I tried to hint it a little bit with how I acted. You've seen the new tube, it hasn't been a while. Oh boy. Let's read the tip. It hasn't been a while. Stop saying it's been a while. We've seen each other every day up until yesterday, haven't we? Whatever. If you say so, we'll go with that. Someone from Shion's house came to get me in a station wagon. I initially refused, but Shion insisted, and so both my bicycle and I ended up stuffed in the car. So the car was currently driving across the single bumpy road leading Hinamizawa. For goodness sake! Shion was at Mion's level. No matter what questions I pressed her with, she slipped out of them like an eel. Still, you two look so alike. If you tied your hair back like Mion does, would you look exactly like her? Who knows? That's probably what would happen. We're identical twins through and through. In the past, we just changed our clothes, and no one would be the wiser. I remember we'd swap places at every opportunity and fool a whole bunch of people. The middle-aged driver wearing a black suit heaved a heavy sigh like he were a butler. What's wrong, Kasai? That was a pretty deep sigh. Excuse me. I was just thinking that you haven't changed. You could see many years of hardship on the man's face through the rear mirror. Anyway, Kei-chan, your house is around here, right? Kasai doesn't know much about Hinamizawa aside from the road that goes to the Sonozaki main house. If you leave it to him, he'll take you all the way to Yaogochi. I don't want that! Excuse me, could you stop on the narrow road at the next right? I'll walk from there. He stopped the car at the desired place. The driver, Kasai, got my bike out of the trunk for me. Sorry about that. Thank you very much for showing me home today. Was it Kei-san? Your name, that is. Yes. You must be having some various difficulties, but I believe she will grow tired soon, so please endure things until then. He gave me a deep, deep look of sympathy. This guy has definitely been dealing with the Sonozaki sisters ever since they were little kids. However, like Mion, she's a kind person at heart. So that means she'll be as much of a bother as Mion, right? This man's face froze and his smile, his reply lost. Hey, back me up here. Bye, Kei-chan! We'll see each other again soon. Say hi to my sister for me, too. Maybe I'll start going to Hinamizawa tomorrow? Don't you dare. If you transfer in, I'll transfer out to a school in Okinomiya. Wow, that was really mean, Kei-chan. A short beep of the horn. The man gave a little wave to me from the driver's seat. Then the car withdrew into the dark night roads, leaving dust in its wake. Man, this entire day made no sense. I ran into Mion while I was with Shion. The former's expression was like a pigeon shot with a pellet gun had finally begun to make a strong impression on me. Oh boy. All right. We've been reading long enough. I gotta go, and I have to edit it. Yes. Thank you anyone who showed up or listened or whatever. Bye!